Hi, and welcome everyone to the Reaching the Siege podcast, the currently only running, I call it the currently only running Rainbow Six Siege podcast. What do you think about that?
It's
Today
what you're
with
stuck.
me.
It's what you're stuck.
Yes, sorry?
It's what we're stuck with, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't find something better, so we kind of stuck with that now. I've got some gameplay running in the background. It's just my last stream from today, so don't wonder too much about that. Today on the podcast, we've got Jack, who is one of my mods.
I'm not British.
He's not British, no. He's from the Americans. And
The American.
then there's and the other guy that I have with me, just a random nerd, is Mr. Tatastic, or Glenn, as we call him today. Welcome to the stream.
Angry.
He's the angriest of people. He's from the UK, and since I am German, we are perfect for this because this is, after all, Rainbow Six and not just one country six.
Hey Jack, shall we beat him up like 60 years ago?
Yeah. Back-to-back World War champs.
Oh god. Okay, yeah, good. We've prepared some topics, just a little bit. I'm not gonna go through all the things that we talk about today, but I feel like the first thing we should start off with is what happened the past year, what happened in the last few patches, and what we think about this. And by the way, I am reading chat every now and then. I can't obviously look at it 24/7, but I can read it most of the time. And I'm gonna respond to it. I'm assuming you two others do the same thing.
Yeah.
Good. Sounds perfect to me. All right. So, what actually got you guys into Siege? How did you start?
Well, if I may go first, the thing that got me into Siege is the fact that I was actually a big fan of the Vegas series in Rainbow Six, the other Tom Clancy series in Rainbow Six, and I used to play it all the time on my PS3, and I loved the terrorist hunt in it. It was my favorite thing. That's actually why I bought Siege. It was because of the terrorist hunt, funny enough. And then, so I heard it was coming out, and it was like, I'm gonna get it, see how it goes, play the terrorist hunt, probably ignore the multiplayer. So I got it day one and everything, and then obviously the multiplayer was just, it blew me away at how fun it was, just how dynamic and it felt, and it was just, it dragged me in and held me down for a year now. Don't regret a thing though.
All right, you started with launch.
Yeah, I've been playing since all the way back in December. Yeah, so I've seen it go up and down, thermite, frag grenades, and everything. That was my favorite part, and I've seen it go. It was like a roller coaster, if I were to put it bluntly. But I've enjoyed every bit of it.
All right, Todd, how about you?
I've been playing Rainbow Six since Broken Arrow, Rainbow Six 3, which is the best Rainbow Six game.
Oh goodness, I didn't even know that one.
And I was playing a lot of Counter-Strike at the time as well, and it just seemed like a good sort of balance between this is like Counter-Strike, but you can actually do more stuff rather than just work on your aim.
Yeah, that's.
And so it's just really sort of the dynamics. There's a lot more team play around it, whereas Counter-Strike's more just you can carry with good aim, whereas this you can't.
Yeah, obviously, this is much more team focused. I was just kind of when I saw the game, I'm gonna be honest, I had no money whatsoever, and I just couldn't buy it. But I was interested from the first moment. I just didn't really have the cash, so I was watching it from the outside just a little bit. Didn't want to spoil myself too much. Why did my stream thing stop? Something's there we go. But yeah, I wasn't too involved into Rainbow Six before that. I just kind of went into Rainbow Six as my first Rainbow experience, and I actually had a couple other YouTubers recommend the game who were really enthusiastic about it and said it's a really good game. I didn't play shooters for a long while before that, so I just kind of hopped into Rainbow hoping it would come back, and it did. And since then I'm playing the game, and I started in February, so I completely missed the first season. I went into the game after Black Ice came out. So
I'm surprised at how well it grew throughout the year, because I remember playing it and because there were a lot of bugs at launch. There was this glitch. I don't know if many people know about it, but where you could go outside and prep phase. So a lot of people,
Ooh.
what they would just do is they could go outside during prep phase, and they would know where the spawns were. So they would just put an nitrocell down and spawn, and they would just get a 5K right off the bat because you couldn't choose where you spawned at all in casual or ranked. So it was just over within 2 seconds, like not even. So I remember there was a ton of glitches like that, and like just other things that were like not. I mean, some of them were game breaking. Other ones were just minor glitches, and I was like, I hope this game does well, but I can see, how it had a fair share of problems, and I'm glad that they overcame quite a lot of them. They've progressively worked on. I mean, there's still bugs in the game, but I think it's come a long way, and I'm glad the community's grown so extensively.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can agree with that. Yeah.
it's just like I started playing in beta, and sort of coming from back then where it was like it was a broken game. Don't get me wrong, it was like every other UB game. It was broken at launch, and it's just like the fact that they've managed to sort of pay attention to it and fix it is like proper creds to Ubisoft.
Yeah, that is so weird and different. Usually Ubisoft is like, yeah, this game's out, we made our sales, we're done, we don't care anymore. And they maybe throw out like a little patch just to fix the super basic things, and then they just let the game die. But weirdly enough, not Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six survived, and they kept going for the entire year, and now we're getting year 2 as well, which is absolutely insane.
I'm pretty sure no one at Ubisoft expected there to even be a demand for year 2. I'm pretty sure they thought like by season 4, by the time season 4 came around, I'm just pretty sure they were like, it'll be slowly dying since then, and then by the time season 4 comes off, it'll be a nice like top off to it just to end it off. And I think that they themselves are probably pretty blown back at how it progressively grew each season, you know.
Yeah.
And the time like season, I think it was 3 came around, like IGN reported and all these other sites reported about how there were more people playing Siege now than ever. And then it's still grown since then, and I think it's been continuously growing.
Yeah, it is. I'm currently trying to bring up the numbers. I'll ping up a picture really soon, but yeah, I don't know. I just find it so interesting that every single time they bring out a new DLC, you can see this spike. Obviously, not everyone's gonna play for the entire time, but there's like a huge spike every time, and it just keeps growing bigger. It's really great. And if you compare that to other games, usually when you look at something like Titanfall, well, the new one just came out, but look at the last Titanfall. There's like there's just a huge player decline where people just left the game after a couple weeks, and we didn't see that with Rainbow, which is really, really impressive.
Another example of that would be Star Wars Battlefront. If you remember how like hyped the game was to say.
Oh yeah. So many people went into that, and in the end, nobody kept playing it.
The series has been dead for years, and then it's a Star Wars series anyway, so it was like it was gaining traction and everything, and it obviously didn't work out at all. But a lot of people bought the season pass and everything, and they're like, what do I do now? So a lot of what I'm pretty sure what's happening is like a DLC will come out that they have, and then people will play it for like a week, and then they'll just quit playing again. That's what I do. Because I bought the season pass, and I was like, I didn't want it to go to waste per se. So every time the new DLC comes out, I'll play it. I'll get all the like achievements on it because I play on PlayStation, and then there's trophies. So I'll get all the trophies for each DLC, and then once I get them, I'll just stop playing. And I find it difficult to keep playing past that because it's almost like a reminder of what the game could have been and everything.
Yeah, it's just like it lacks depth. That's what it lacks. The game has no depth to it.
So
Battlefield Star Wars.
Yeah, basically. I've had the same thing that you just described with Battlefront. I just had that with Battlefield. I mean, don't get me wrong. I played the game for but something between like 50 and 100 hours. I'm not sure. I'm too lazy to check now. But basically, I've played the game for quite a while, and then I just kind of stopped because I felt like I've done everything I wanted to do, and there's nothing more to get. I mean, I know for a fact Matimio is still playing Battlefield. And he's maximum level and has everything unlocked, and that's like 10 times the amount of that I've played, and he's still having fun. But I kind of it feels the same. You walk about the same maps all the time, you kill the same people all the time, and you get you don't even have many weapons. You have how many weapons do you have?
It's like 16, if that.
It's like 16, and they all have their things.
Yeah, it becomes a rhythm. But going back to Rainbow, and that it shows that how it didn't just spike for like the week of the of the release of each DLC. It kept going, you know,
Yep.
progressively throughout the season. So it wasn't like the first week of Dustline, you go up to spike, and then after that it just drops down. It kept going, which I think obviously contributed to how it kept growing progressively throughout the entire year. Overall, I think it was a pretty successful, obviously a very successful game, and it was a very fun and enjoyable year.
Yep.
But if you would have asked me like on December, like say 2 weeks into December, how far I thought the game would have been, I would have been like, maybe April, and then that's it, because it just had it was plagued with so many bugs. It had a whole bunch of there weren't very many positive reviews, but there was something about the game that was just that once they built on that foundation and also fixed some of the bugs, it just grew exponentially.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why Siege is so different from all the other games is because it is that is the best part about Siege, the destructibility, right? That's why I kind of just started playing and never stopped, because I noticed even if you go into I don't know, let's say you go into bank and you're in the CEO office, you can breach from the side, you can breach from the windows, you can breach from the windows that are further like towards the main lobby. You can breach from the main lobby. You can breach from underneath. You can just toss some grenades in there. You can do fucking whatever. It doesn't matter. It feels different every single time you play, even if you play the same objective. And you get 3 objectives per map. So essentially, you don't just get like the 10 maps that we had at launch. You got like 40. You got the value of 40 maps because the maps that we got were so big. And every single time you get a different objective, it feels so different to play.
Completely dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely dynamic. It's really, I don't know, that is what kept me playing.
What do you guys think about season 4 though? So how now that the year's finished off, it's obviously been a year, December 1st of Rainbow Six Siege, and now going into season 4, what do you guys think about how it's gone so far and what you're most enjoying?
I think it's been a solid season. I don't think it's the best. My favorite was probably the what's the American one called with Border? What did they Dustline? That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite. But I don't know. I think they tried a bit too hard with it. I think they were like, yeah, let's please everyone.
With Red Crow?
Yeah, I think they tried to sort of please everyone,
Really?
and as a result, sort of missed the mark.
I don't agree. I think that they understood the need to a changing dynamic, because that's the overlying theme about how it doesn't run dry, and they didn't want it to run dry and things to become repetitive. So they were constantly looking for new operators that would change up the meta and change up how you play things and change up just the overall gameplay. And I feel like that's what they did with Hibana. I mean, yeah, I guess you could see it as catering to some people's requests, but it's not like it was a specific request. It was just add interesting content and interesting operators.
Yeah.
And that's what I think they did with Hibana is now it's not just Thermite. You have obviously Hibana. You could take either or both, and you can like there's different dynamics to it now, because now like on Garage for House, for example, you don't have to use you can use more than 2 Thermite charges. So you can use 1 Thermite charge on left garage, 1 on the right garage, and have Hibana and someone else flank around and make kill holes into say weight room into garage, and then you just got all these lines of sight that the defenders, it's new dynamics you have to play around with. So you can't defend the same objectives the same way. You have to attack the objectives different ways. So I don't think that it was like I think they hit a certain mark. I think it's a pretty dynamic change, and I think it worked out pretty well.
I'd say, like, in my book, the Red Crow DLC was definitely the best so far. I mean, the other ones were absolutely fantastic as well, but Red Crow was it perfectly gave me what I wanted. I wanted something different to Thermite. I've got something different to Thermite. I don't know. I didn't check the win rates recently since Hibana came out, but I feel like maybe it's getting a little bit too attacker biased, I'd say.
Well, you have to realize, maybe, but I think the other thing that helps the defense team is now that there's 3 minutes in the ranked timer. So a lot of time, well, in the ranked timer, at least I know you play a lot of casual, but in ranked, it really helps out, because like before you could drone out every single corner of every single room.
Yeah.
In ranked. And teams would do that. Like good teams would do that because it makes the most sense. You can clear out the rumors, and you still have plenty of time to attack the room, the roamers. And it got kind of annoying because they would just, you couldn't really roam that effectively if you were going up against a team like that checked all their corners and every single room. But now they don't have the time to do that. If they do that, then they're pressed for time,
Yep.
and it becomes. So now with the way that they've done it, which is the reason why I like the 3-minute timer, is that roamers can be more effective now, and but also you have that aspect of the fact that they can make more lines of sight, and that in a way it could kind of be seen as attack sided. But it's also they made sure to try and make it to where the defense team isn't just it wasn't just a complete buff to defense.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't know. Then again, that's only ranked. In casual, there's nothing that.
There's different. It's still 4 minutes. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's still 4 minutes, and there's no change there. I mean, I get the idea that it has to be balanced and ranked, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like perfectly balanced in casual, but it still feels a little bit weird and awkward. I don't know. I kind of don't like it, but I'd like to see maybe a 3-minute timer in casual. Perhaps, maybe, or like as a second game mode, perhaps. But then again, you split up the community even more, and I kind of like what it is.
I think they're doing that as a test to see how the 3-minute timer works in ranked, and if they decide, oh, it's mostly positive feedback, I think they'll implement it into the casual.
They might, yeah. But then again, in casual, you kind of just learn how to play the game, and when you don't have those 4 minutes, like when you're a complete noob, and you don't know how this entire thing works, then having this extra minute to figure out how it works is very, very valuable, I think.
Indeed. But overall, I'm pretty confident that this was a very successful season for them, and I'm pretty sure that they're satisfied with it. I think that there's definitely a what's the word to put it? I think it was overall a success. I think that there could be some things that they might change differently in terms of the attack and defense side, and how if it's sided towards one or the other. But overall, I do think it was. I kind of disagree with you, Turd, but I do think it was much. It wasn't my favorite season though. I think my favorite season was Black Ice. Funny enough.
When I said they were trying too hard, I was mainly talking about, like, obviously the gameplay changes were fantastic. I agree with those. Things that I'm talking about is they put too much emphasis on sort of the elite and the skins and stuff, which to me is to me that screams free to play model. And I know that Siege isn't a free to play model, obviously, because you have to buy a game. But I just think it's a bit gimmicky, and I don't really like it.
I disagree. I think that the point of it doesn't change the gameplay that much. I mean, you get a kind of, no, I wouldn't say cheesy.
It doesn't change the gameplay at all.
Yeah, but I do think that you get, like, I mean, you could see the little MVP screen is kind of cheesy, perhaps.
Yeah, true that.
I do think that though it's a good way to support the game, because it's not like you're paying real money for like a new gun or anything. You're just paying for cosmetic items, obviously, and it's like it's a nice way to support the game without having to buy anything. Like, it's optional, but they feel confident in the fact that people will buy it or have that desire to buy other cosmetic items. That's why they have the art department working on so many new skins, new guns, new gun skins, and new character skins and stuff like that, because it adds more revenue for them to continue to support the game, because obviously you have to pay the developers and everything. It's not like they work for free. Obviously. So a good way to do that is to do stuff like that. I think you can kind of see it as maybe a bit cheesy. I don't think it's a gimmick by any chance. I think it's just it's completely optional, and I think there's enough people who will go that route to make it successful to support the developers and not change the gameplay.
Yeah, true, but I think they could have sort of maybe let a Counter-Strike model with the weapon skins if they wanted to earn more revenue that way. Because I think that model was tried and tested, it works really well. And the skins for the characters, I just think, don't look that good.
Well, I think Sledge's looks alright. I think most people didn't understand what most people thought it was like a German 1940s outfit, which obviously it wasn't.
Oh yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, it was an American cop.
Yeah, it was an American cop, but that's not that's not the first thing people saw. But you have to realize that's three operators out of what is it, 30 now? 36? I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the point being is that there's I think that's all they could work on now. So they just release it as like a not like a demo per se, but for a just as an example, just to see, to show what's to come. Because like first off, Capcan's looks all right. It's not the most noticeable. Like it has the blue stripes and everything, but it's not like a massive change. Like it still overall
It
looks
still
the same.
looks the same. Yeah, that's the problem.
But see, not that many people. Not that people don't play Capcan, but I feel like they're more likely to buy a different skin because unless you have the money to buy all of them, then you're gonna buy all of them. But if you had to choose between like one or two, I feel like Capcan would be towards the bottom of the list. But if you play Thermite and Sledge, I think Sledge is actually really cool. And then Thermite's obviously had a bit of a bad reception. It had a good idea, and then like the reception was just like why is there this German
Yeah. People didn't realize that, or Ubisoft didn't realize that the community can be stupid.
I don't think it's that it was stupid. I just think that they do look rather similar. It's 20th century, police officer gear, and it's vintage police officer gear, and that I think it was like I said, I think it was an interesting idea, and that worked on paper, and then on delivery, it just wasn't delivered that well. But I think that the other skins for the other 36 operators or whatever are going to be. I think they're going to have more time to work on them. I think they're going to be pretty nice, and I think people are going to buy them and it'll support the game.
It's not even Ubisoft's fault that everyone thinks it's World War II uniforms. It's just I think it's just so branded in our minds because there's so many. Well, there was currently not so much, but there was so many World War II games out there, and they all had this this German gray kind of uniform. We're just used to that, and at first glance, Thermite just looks exactly like that. Obviously, as you look deeper into the skin, as you look a little bit closer, you can actually see that he has a police badge, and that there is he has a police helmet. But on your first glance, he really looks like a German a German World War II soldier.
Well, I think what happened was it was a first glance, like you said, it was like a first glance thing, and then from that it just became like a meme or a gag, like a quick joke kind of thing.
Yeah.
And from there, that's where it got the rest of the bad reception. And also his end screen thing, people were complaining about that because it's like he's a pyromancer or whatever, and he can cast fire with his hand. I think that not necessarily drew people out of immersion, but I think people were like, what is this doing in an FPS game? Because Siege was so at base game, it was pretty straightforward, and there wasn't too many outlandish stuff like you'd expect to find stuff like that. I mean, there were some like rainbow skins and stuff, but for the most part, it was perfectly fine. But I think in that aspect, to create more content and cosmetic items, they've gone out to get certain charms that are just like what was that one? It was like a it wasn't a Nyan cat. It was like a unicorn, right?
Oh yeah.
One of the first charms. Yeah, it was like a unicorn charm. I was like, why is it, how does that go on a gun and why? But overall, I think it was, for the most part, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I can. I don't know. I'm kind of split. I have a split opinion on that. I feel like it's not absolutely horrible that they're implementing weird shit like the operator helmet that the headgear that looks like they're clowns or something. I don't like that in particular, but I can see that you can do some fun stuff with that. And I'm not against tactical gear either. I can understand the people that want to keep the game tactical, and I can also understand that you can't really have both at the same time. Either you get those kind of headgears or you don't, and I think more people are fine with it than are not. So I don't know. I can understand it. Again, Ubisoft kind of needs to. They're not going full money hungry on this game, right? It has the fairest system for. It has the fairest system for a low. What would you say? Like a low investment game. If you start with the season with the starter edition, you pay $15 for a $60 title, and you get the entire game. You don't get just parts of it. You can play a while and then still get pretty much everything that you can get when you get the full game. You just have to play a little bit longer.
I think the starter edition was a pretty unique, and I think it was overall a good idea. I think it worked. It works, and it worked out well.
It was a really good idea, yeah.
Yeah, the starter edition was fantastic. It's like because you can just go to your mates like, look, hey, I'm trying out this game. It's really pretty cool. It's quite cheap, and you can like just it gets people into the game.
Well, the other thing is that obviously this is more console focused in the fact that like if you were to go to like GameStop or something or some other like off-brand where you can buy games like that, it's not $60 anymore. So
Yeah, obviously.
So you can like buy it like you could buy like the disc for like say $30 or whatever, and that's like the full game. That's like double the price of the starter edition, but you get everything without the the 2,000 what was it 25,000 price tag on the operators.
Yeah.
So I mean from there. It like I said, it works out. It's a nice idea. It's what I bought for my PC because I just wanted to test it out to see if how well it would run on my PC and my friend's PC and everything. I didn't want to obviously spend the full $60 on it, but it didn't work out. So I knew what kind of new parts I had to get and everything for my PC, based off of how well or how badly it ran on my current PC.
All right. Yeah, someone in chat has just written something that I thought is a good thing to talk about, and he talked about single player. I
Definitely.
think the main reason Rainbow Six didn't sell too well at launch and didn't have such a good time at launch is because for some reason people want single player campaigns in their $60 title, even though they don't care. The single player campaign can be absolutely shit. They're fine with it as long as they have one. They feel like they've been betrayed if they only get multiplayer. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember Titanfall 1. People have been raging on that so hard when that came out. It's like $60. There's no single player. What the fuck are you doing? And I'm not gonna buy that. And like, it's so dumb.
I agree. I think there should be a single player. Like I'm a massive like when I've just come home after a long shift at work, I don't really want to talk to anyone. I just want to chill, and it diverts from the whole Rainbow Six history that it has been a single player focused game.
Based on a book, after all.
Yeah, exactly. And it holds the Tom Clancy's name, which is a whole story based thing, and there is no story to Rainbow Six Siege. In fact, not arguably, there isn't a story to it at all.
Yeah, no, nothing. What actually? There's a little bit. Kind of. It's more like lore. It's more like Dark Souls. You gotta
yeah,
really,
exactly.
You gotta really dive deep into it to find something story worthy.
But I'd like to know more about the operators, how they came to be, how they came to join Team Rainbow, where they've come from, what they've done previously, stuff like that. Because all we get at the moment is a shitty little bio and maybe a 5-second video.
Yep.
What's they didn't even do for the DLC operators because I guess they didn't have time or the resources. But in terms of the actual campaign, I actually think I disagree with you both in the fact that I think a single player campaign is nice, but overall I'm glad they focus more on the multiplayer because like there's a lot of good dynamics to it that I think that I'm glad they focus more on that than opposed to the campaign.
Exactly.
Because in my opinion, if I come home and I've had a long day and I want to go play a single player campaign, I would put in The Witcher 3 or some other game.
Exactly, that's what I think.
I bought Siege for an FPS title. I mean, sure, the campaign would be nice. It's like, in my opinion, it's a nice addition to an FPS game. That's nice to have, but it wasn't like a necessity. It wasn't to me like it is to some people like a complete, like a no-go. Like if it doesn't have a campaign, I'm not buying it. I think I was perfectly fine with it. I mean, I think the little operations thing that they did were kind of pointless. They were kind of annoying, but for the most part, they were. I'm glad they focused on the multiplayer. And like I said, if I wanted a single player campaign, I would go pick up The Witcher 3 or Skyrim Remastered or something.
But that's the thing, like they're completely different games. Like I like Siege. I wanted to play a Siege campaign. Like if I wanted to play a different game, I would have put in a different game.
Yeah, obviously, I can see that you're mad, but that those mechanics that you like so much, all went into a multiplayer game. But I feel like if they would have made a single player game, the multiplayer wouldn't have gotten as good because they had a lot. Like a single player, you can't just make that in you can't just throw some things together and call it single player. They didn't essentially they did that. They did what do you call it, Terrorist Hunt. but they didn't sell it as like a single player campaign. And they didn't want to do that because it's kind of scummy. You can't just it's I don't know is that even false advertising? I don't know, but I feel like it's a really bad thing if they would have done that. And instead they just focused on the multiplayer, and I gotta agree with that. I feel like this game in multiplayer is a much better investment to just put all the resources in multiplayer and ignore the single player altogether, even though people are gonna be mad and pissed.
Yeah, I guess the main thing I have a complaint with is to me it doesn't feel like a Rainbow Six game. It in the slightest. It doesn't feel like
I
the
do
others.
agree they branched off a bit, but it wasn't, in my opinion. I think they branched off in a good way. Like I think that it's not like they went, and all of a sudden it's a Minecraft game, Minecraft ripoff in Rainbow Six. It's a whole new. Like I think it took it a step forward into like a new changing gaming industry, and that favors FPSs or multiplayer FPSs with competitive gameplay. Kind of. Obviously, there's a lot of comparisons that are drawn to CS:GO, but kind of like CS:GO in this case, that how it's a competitive tactic-based, team play shooter that has a great multiplayer. I mean, CS:GO doesn't really have a campaign, but it did perfectly well.
Yeah,
True,
obviously,
yeah.
but CS:GO was also sold for $15.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I
that's
mean
true as well.
the
20?
thing that somebody just mentioned, like I'd like to know if the defense operators are terrorists. That's quite a good point. Like it doesn't quite make sense. You've got these national CTUs, so you've got SAS fighting SAS.
Didn't
Like
someone say that this is like all a simulation? It's like they are in VR and they're doing tests. They're doing like a simulation training. That's what I got from somewhere. I think I read it on Reddit somewhere.
I mean, they could make up whatever they want, and they could just end it off with, and then they woke up.
Yeah, exactly.
and then they clapped.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But going on, I think that I'm in terms of the I don't think we'll get any more single player stuff in terms of of year 2, but I am really excited to see like what year 2 has to offer for a variety of different reasons. If
obviously.
well, the first thing I was going to mention is the choice in countries and CTUs by that, right? And what you lot thought about them.
I don't know. Like the choice in countries to me seems like they've kind of gone random with them. They've kind of like got a dart and thrown it at a map and gone, yeah, we'll go with those countries.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
There's some iconic CTUs that aren't in the game. Like I think you mentioned earlier, Jack, was the Israelis.
Yeah,
Like,
and it baffles me that they're not in the game. I mean, there's probably a reason why. There's a bit of controversy, and I can see why if they didn't want to do that. But the point being is that it's a CTU based game all about counter terrorists and operators and Israel, isn't it? And it's like it's massively missing, the whole point. It's like having a list of like the most crazed bloodthirsty rulers ever, and then like leaving out like Vlad the Impaler or something.
Yeah, I can definitely see the point there. I don't know. I'm not too deep into this. I don't know any CTUs, but
and as a Brit, it offends me that the Americans get the FBI and the SEALs, but we don't get the SAS and CO-19.
Yeah,
I don't.
Gee, America, how come lets you have 2 CTUs?
I really don't know why they put two American CTUs in. I really don't. I don't see why, and even by extension, Canada. Not that Canada. It's not like they made the JTF up. It exists. They have experience, but you have to look at it relatively and comparatively. Compared to the Israelis, who still aren't in the game, why choose Canada? Compared to Poland, who wasn't in the game at the time, why would you choose Canada? It begs the question, like you said, it's like they like put a blindfold on, clenched a fist of like 4 darts, and then just tossed it at a world map. And it's like, oh, here we go. But overall, I'm glad they added Poland though. That was Poland and Israel were the ones that they like the community and like on Reddit and everything. People were talking about they should add these for year 2. I mean, obviously it's still not Israel, but we at least got Poland.
Kurva.
That's not even how you pronounce it. It's Kurva.
Yeah.
Kurva.
I mean,
I think the main reasoning behind this is first off bias. I think why the Canadian CTU is in the game is because they're obviously the Ubisoft Montreal and not I don't know, something else. But I feel like they just put it in because they are located in Montreal. They wanted something probably for themselves, because most of them are from Montreal. They're not just flying there every week. They're all people from Montreal, all the developers. So
yeah, Ubisoft, you racist fucks.
No, but I mean, and that's all well and good. But the point being is that there's 13 operator schools now, and none of them being Israel is kind of like like I said, it baffles me. There's a lot of people who are like, one out of the 13 could have easily been replaced with Israel.
Yeah, the thing is, Israel will be so easy to do as well, because you've got the Tavor 21 rifle, you've got the corner shot, which would make an amazing gadget.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be kind of overpowered though, probably, but yeah, I get the idea.
Perhaps maybe to have like terrible accuracy or something, but I think the one thing that goes to show of how like impactful the Israeli CTUs are and the special forces are in like the real world is the fact that Israel is in the game, but yet there's already Israeli weapons in the game. The Deagle, for instance, is already in the game. It's an Israeli weapon, but it's on the American CTUs.
Can we quickly talk about how that weapon makes no sense, like whatsoever?
Yeah. No forces. Like, I don't know if any of the chat know, but I used to be in the army. You would never, ever issue that as a sidearm. It has zero purpose other than looking cool.
Yeah, that's why they put it in the game. And quickly on the side note there, that's why I think they put the that's one of the two reasons they put two US operators, two US CTUs into the game. First off, most of the players, we can't discuss that. There's no point in saying something different. But most of the players are Americans, and the Americans like to see American stuff, just like any country wants to see their country being represented.
I mean, yeah, and that's true. But I think it's not like they weren't in the game to begin with. I don't think anyone had they not announced the year one DLC roadmap right away, I guarantee there wouldn't have been anyone being like, oh, like even any American being like, oh, they should add another American CTU, because it just wouldn't make sense. Like, why are you gonna? They're already in the game. So I think that, like I said, if they hadn't come out put their cards on the table right away, that no one would have asked for the second American CTU or second any CTU. I think they would all be satisfied with just having.
Everyone knows them. That's the thing. Like, everyone knows FBI and everyone knows the SWATs. And
everyone knows, but the counter that is everyone knows the IDF too.
To be honest, I didn't. I'm not too involved into this. I've never been like a big fan of big CTUs from other countries. I've never delved into that.
To be fair, the whole countries thing doesn't really fit into the whole theme of Team Rainbow. Like, because as soon as you join Rainbow, you're no longer part of your country's CTU. Like, you are Team Rainbow. So really, none of them should have it.
Kind of are, but yeah, I get your point. But yeah, the thing is that basically they just wanted the best out of the best. They didn't exactly leave their CTU. They just go onto like special missions, don't they? I don't exactly know the law.
No, they joined Team Rainbow, or a UN organized group.
I thought they only assemble that in like special situations and not as a general thing.
Maybe they retconned everything in Siege. Out.
Fuck you, Tom Clancy. Now you're dead. We can do what we like. Too soon.
No, it's been like 3 years. Yes.
I've just googled Team Rainbow and like the funniest picture came up. It's like some fucking kiddies program. Yeah, I'll share it to you.
Okay, I'll click it.
But in term, well, we talked about the countries a bit, and I think Spain is fine. I think Poland is, like I said, great. South Korea too. Hong Kong is a bit, peculiar, to say the least. It's like, well, Hong Kong. Like, I still don't. Someone said that something about flying tigers, but that was just like a nickname. I still haven't found out the name of the CTU. They just like I said, they picked the name out of the hat and was like, oh, Hong Kong. I guess that counts, right? And then put them in instead of, again, especially comparatively, if you compare them to other countries that perhaps should be in the game. Yeah,
I get you. I don't know. It makes sense, but I can't.
Yeah, if we're going based on like well-knownness and stuff as well, like Japan and fucking SDF, who just no one's
I
fucking
have
heard of
never
them.
heard about the Japanese, but then again, as I already said, I haven't heard about any of them. So
Maybe that goes to show how great they are that they're so secretive. They're the best at their jobs. You don't even know.
Just that fucking picture that came up.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't think that they should have gone off of famousness per se, like renown. I just think they should have gone on the fact that what are the most like not even active, just the most prepared, I would say, or equipped, well equipped. Think CTUs that would make sense to be in a game all about CTUs.
Like Gecko just said, the Irish characters, like the Irish Rangers, are fucking immense. Why is Hong Kong there but not Ireland?
Yeah, that's true too.
yeah,
I don't-
kind of makes no sense.
Overall, though, I'm excited for season 2. And if you ignore the countries, then I mean, we don't have anything about the gadgets or anything. So anything that the three of us could say past this point is complete speculation. But I
Mhm.
do think that there's a lot of good ideas already being thrown out there by the community about what they could do in terms of like game-changing operators. And they don't even have to be game-changing because well, Thomas, you joined after Black Ice, so this would be
Yes.
going towards you. Do you remember how? Do you realize how much didn't really change after Black Ice in terms of meta? I mean, the most you had to do was watch out for when you jumped in through windows.
For a while, yeah. There was quite a while where everything kind of got stale. I even noticed that while I was learning. Like I was learning. I was taking my sweet time when I was learning this game. So I played like maybe an hour a day, or maybe like 2 or 3 hours a week, and so I was taking my time, and I still noticed that things got stale rather quickly. Like not super stale. Obviously, you get completely different rounds, but I noticed that people didn't like to play certain operators. That some operators were picked every time. Like as soon as Dustline came out, Blackbeard was like instantly picked every single game, and it didn't change until they reworked all the operators with the mid-season reinforcements. It kind
I
of
think
it kind of like that was probably you said that before the podcast as well. I don't want to take credit for that, but I think I agree with you when you said that the mid-season reinforcements were probably the best update.
Yeah, 4.2 was arguably my favorite update. I mean, I think Dustline itself, like that patch, was pretty good, but I think 4.2 added a lot of dynamic changes that weren't like part of a season change, like a seasonal change. But to go on the point, if you looked at the roadmap for the year 2 thing, it mentions how there's going to be mid-season reinforcements for between each season, and that it has me kind of worried to the extent that what are they going to do? Because I mean, claymores and the impact grenades were a great change. I think claymores help with the people complaining about how there are too many people jumping outside windows. The impact grenades help with, well, it reduced the amount of nitro cells in the game. I mean, they're still do damage and everything, but it did reduce the number of nitro cells, and it also allowed for like you didn't need to waste like a nitro cell like on bomb, for example, to blow holes between the bombs. Now you can just use an impact grenade, and then before you needed a nitro cell, you needed maybe an even shock on it a bit or something like that, and now you have impact grenades, which are so much more simpler, or if you're like going on a flank quickly as Caviar, you can destroy a hatch real fast, that kind of thing, without needing a shotgun to destroy hatches or wasting a nitro cell.
Yep.
But so you can go on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. That's what I want for the longest time. I still kind of want an operator that kind of can breach without, well, I can as a defender breach walls without having to take forever. I don't know. It kind of changed a little bit now because of all the new things that have been added. But I still don't like using impacts for opening up in between bombs. I use one maybe, but I feel like a lot of people use impact grenades very, very wrong, where they just stand, they see a shield and they just throw 2 impacts at them, and while they're throwing them, the shield is headshotting them. It's that easy, and the impacts just don't do enough damage against shields to actually hurt them.
Yeah, they do like, what was it, like?
They do like 40 damage, so you need at least like, you need to shoot him and then hit both your impacts, which is,
I think,
even though they're big and fat, they can still dodge.
I think a good change to make with impacts versus shields is maybe if you threw the impact and it broke the glass on the shield.
That sounds like a neat idea.
And it opens up the ability to headshot them.
I think that's a good idea, but I think it's going in the wrong direction, because I feel like shields need a buff rather than...
Yeah, true that, yeah. I like the idea, but they do need a buff.
Is making shields even less viable if the glass can be shot through, and then you can just be headshotted. So like, if shields were OP all of a sudden, and they were looking the ways to nerf them, that would be a great idea, but I think it's a wrong step.
To be fair, to buff shields, all they do is need to make them work, because at the moment they're just too glitchy.
Yeah, that would be nice, but Ubisoft.
I gotta be honest, I don't see shields to be glitchy at all. Like, I see some stuff on the Reddit every now and then that's like, yeah, that looked a little bit sketchy. But personally, I didn't have any problems with shields, because I just, I don't know, I shoot the arm and I'm like, yeah, alright, that definitely wasn't a headshot.
Yeah, but see, even when it's not like a glitch or anything, they still don't like rack up kills or anything. They're just very stationary targets. Like, I mean, you can't just flat out shoot them. You gotta work around them, but they're too easy to work around. But
yeah, they kind of
real quick going back, I saw Priest mention something in the chat about how they should allow the recruits to use new CTU weapons, like the MPX, Valkyrie, and everything. I think it's a good idea. I think they also should use the new gadgets, like the Claymore and the impact grenades that they for some reason.
How are they gonna make money from that? You're gonna spend your money on the new CTU to get the challenges done.
I mean, I guess that's true, but I don't think that's it. I mean, the challenges are just a walk in the park. It's like step 2 feet, shoot 3 bullets, exist, that kind of thing. It's not like they're the most challenging challenges ever.
Yeah, they just said that they're improving the challenges. Like 2 weeks ago, they were like, "Yo, we're bringing up new challenges. Everything's gonna change. We're gonna make really, really great challenges now." And then literally the next week, it was like, get 8 kills with I don't know, get 8 kills with Buck, and I'm like, okay, well this hasn't changed, but has it? It's weird.
Yeah, but I think the whole point of, like, especially with the DLC operators, is their gadgets are very useful. Like IQ's gadget you can do without. You might as well go recruit. Recruit with the 5.52 commando and the P12 pistol. But I do think that, like, if on defense, a lot of people like the MPX. If you want to take the MPX as a recruit, I think you should be able to. Like, say you're AFK or something, you don't get back in time, you just have your recruit preset to where you can go MPX. Or maybe you hate yourself and want to use the M12 for Caveira. That's your thing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see that, but I feel like it's a difficult thing. Yeah, I feel like indeed. they should probably implement it. Or what they maybe what they could have done was just add the class, but make them use the SAS weapons. Just let's say they all can use the SAS weapons. That's fine. They just for some reason only get the SAS weapons, and just so people can get their challenges done. That's all I really care about. Like, I just want the people to finish their challenges. And
that's all. I think that I think that, like, a lot of people like having the recruit set up to something to where if they do end up going AFK on accident, then they at least have some viable weapon. Like, a lot of people use either the MP7 or the MP5K on defense because it's already got a grip and their iron sights aren't bad.
Yep.
Those weapons. But I feel like they should try that with like, so you can expand upon that. Like the Frost's 9mm, for example. The iron sights aren't that great on that thing, but you don't need, like, there's no grip that you can put on it that changes that much. Also, the barrels, you can only use a silencer or a heavy barrel. So I feel like a recruit version of that wouldn't be too drastically different than the main version. That'll be nice to run.
Yeah, probably.
And then of course all the shotguns you can pretty much run naked anyways, even on the actual operators.
I gotta say, there's a big difference between the shotgun, especially my best example is always the the GSG9 shotgun, where when I have the laser on it, this thing absolutely destroys everyone. But as soon as I take the laser sight off, it feels like I'm shooting peas.
Perhaps it's just a mental thing. Like maybe you do like destroy them with laser sight because you're like hitting them correctly, and then like after if you take it off, like you're actually shooting their arm or something.
Yeah,
And
maybe
then
I'm
it
just
will,
an
like,
idiot. Yeah.
you're like, oh, this laser sight is clearly the answer. It does 40 more damage if I have the laser sight on. But what were we saying before we went on about the gadgets? Because I do think they need to add in the recruit gadgets for the DLC operators. But speaking of DLC operators, that's what we were talking about. Is what any ideas for the new Spanish CTU? Because they're going to be the up first turd.
Spanish, I think they should be able to cook you a paella and you regain health.
Sounds great. 10 out of 10. You should just work for Ubisoft.
I should. And give me a job.
Yeah.
Just quit whatever you're doing. Hire him.
Exactly. Fucking
Professional.
10 out of 10.
I don't know.
I've been trying to think about it a bit, but you can go on, Thomas.
I didn't quite finish my my topic with the impact grenades. I feel like people are using them wrong against like they're throwing them at shields. And how I use them is I like to have just one on my hand, just so I can flank in a really unexpectedly. Like you can literally run into a wall and throw it right in your face. You take 50% damage. Doesn't matter because you are right in their faces and they have no clue what's happening. And before they notice and turn around, you already have your sights onto them, and then you just fire away. And not many people do that. They use them for shields. They use them for anything.
I disagree. I think most people what ends up happening is they take them to roam with. Like if you're not playing bomber or something, you don't need them for anything else. They take them with them, like a smoke roaming or a caviera, for example. And if they run up against a shield, like they're trying to flank, and all of a sudden, boom, it's blitz. Then I feel like they use the impact grenades because it feels like it's more prevalent then because you got to win this firefight against the shield. And if you throw 2 impact grenades at him, then he's down to like 20 health, or no, 10, 20 health, depending. Then you can just shoot him in the arm and then he's down or dead.
I quite like Gigi's idea there of a cluster flashbang, so 9 bangs. I think that would make a nice little gadget.
Yeah, perhaps.
So you throw it in, you get 9 flashes basically off of one to go off in quick succession. It just allows you that bit more time, doesn't it? As long as they fix flashbangs first.
How are
I like-
flashbangs broken?
Because they don't work half the time.
No, that's a lie.
It's not.
They
I've
work.
done it where I've literally looked at a flashbang and not been flashed and been like, oh, okay.
That's weird. I've never had that. Like, I think flashbangs work perfectly fine. The thing is, nobody's using them. That's the main issue. So you never really get a good example of if they work or not. I feel like I'm the only player in the world that uses flashbangs quite often.
I think that the flashbangs are not that great because I feel like they're very inconsistent. I feel like half the time they're like what Turd says is how it's like you look at them and it's like a paper napkin, it just has graced my face. And the other times, like you said, Thomas, is how it's like the sun in the game, how it's like 20% the size of the normal sun, and it just blinds you.
Yep.
The other times it's like that,
Yeah, there is some inconsistencies. Yeah, I can totally agree on that.
Jack, you said about armor piercing rounds. They wouldn't really work against deployable shields, mainly because of the armor types that the operators are wearing. AP rounds are designed to go through sort of thick body armor plates, not shields.
Wait, who said it? Something about
Some guy in chat.
Oh, some guy in chat.
Armor piercing rounds, the way they work is they essentially have a steel core. And the copper jacket peels off, and the steel core is what penetrates. So if you were to have them, that I reckon they should do less damage.
Here's the question. What about for a gadget you have a mag of armor piercing rounds that can shoot through reinforcements? But they do minimal damage, so you have to be precise, and you only have like a mag or like half a mag or something, like very few bullets.
That
So
would
you
be
can't
quite good.
spray down the team. I think it'd be interesting because then it promotes good droning. Like if you drone somewhere and you don't like either your Hibana or Thermite's busy or just doesn't want to use it on that wall or whatever, you can pop in that mag and then boom, you can shoot him through the wall. At least I don't know how the damage will work. Maybe it only does minimal damage, or maybe it does the normal. But if you get the headshot, it wouldn't matter. But to the point to where then they would at least have to rotate or whatever. And then also what would be even cooler is that if it penetrated deployable shields. So that way, if there's someone camping behind a shield trying to like head glitch it through the side, then you can just, you don't need to get that perfect headshot on them. You can just spray them down through the shield.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. I think armor-piercing rounds would be a good shout, but maybe even make it like a mag modification. So in terms of like an attachment, because I don't think you could base a whole operator around that.
Yeah, that might be true. But I also think that it might be because obviously the defenders they always have reinforcements. They're always going to at least have a chance to, do something with it. It's not like other times where it's like with Caviar, if they're all moving in like a group formation, you can't really do much.
Yeah,
in
that's
terms of,
why
like,
she's so weak in Pro League. She's not picked because everyone's just kind of communicating.
She's very situational, but I feel like if they added an operator that had armor-piercing bullets, like a mag of it, like he would always at least have some kind of use. Like you could use him, you probably wouldn't finish the round without having used it because there's always some guy that you're gonna see like always behind this corner, and then you could be like, hey, armor-piercing guy, spray down that wall.
Yeah, rather than with the walls and stuff, you could make it so that it counters Rook's armor, so that when you hit someone with it, it just negates the effect of it.
I think I saw that idea a couple of times. Like I saw it on the Reddit. I saw on Matimio's video. I saw it a couple of times, but I feel like I said, I think it's going in the wrong direction. I think the armor piercing rounds, I feel like they should not be a counter to Rook because I feel like it wouldn't be that. I mean, there's always a Rook more or less, but I just feel like headshots are the counter to Rook.
Yeah.
So I feel like the direction that I mentioned, at least, would be taking it more in the viable route to the point where it would be much more useful and much more game changing. If you find out, oh, they got a I don't know, Pierce guy on their team, then you gotta be careful how long you're camping a corner behind a reinforced wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the armor piercing rounds. I don't know if I just had to quickly do like a quote unquote balanced version on it. What I would like to see, like to try, would be give the new operator 2 mags of armor piercing rounds, and let the armor piercing rounds penetrate the extendable shields, those that you put on the ground. I forgot what they're called. And let them penetrate reinforcements, but not like just make bullet holes, but no big bullet holes, just like the small ones that you can't even see through really.
Unless you gave them to defenders rather than think of them as an offensive option.
I think the offensive version is much better because I had a clip like a little bit earlier in the stream right here. Where I had a fight with a Frost, and she was just hidden behind a shield, and I could not touch her because she was just completely hidden behind it, and I had like an inch that I could reach with my gun, but I was like, I don't know how many meters away. I was like a good 10 meters or something away, so I couldn't do anything about that. And I feel like with an armor penetrating operator, I could have just shot at the shield and taken her out. And same maybe with reinforcements, when you know somebody is right behind the reinforced wall. The weakness of Thermite and especially Ibana right now is that, well, it's not really a weakness, just like, so it doesn't get too overpowered, is that she can't instantly breach. It takes like, Hibana takes like 5 seconds to breach, Thermite takes 2 or 3. That's good enough, that gives you enough time to run and reposition yourself. But when suddenly someone's shooting through a wall, you've got no time to do any of that. And you can like you can just shoot through the shields, and they have no clue what's happening. You can shoot through a reinforced wall. You obviously wouldn't do full damage, but you would do enough. I mean, the headshot would kill anyways, right?
Yeah. So if you aim in well enough, then you could get him. If you're just spraying him down to get in the move, then you probably wouldn't kill him. Just do enough damage to make him, move and everything. Or if he doesn't, if he's stubborn and still stays there, he's low on health. But
another idea that I sort of thought was quite cool was the ability to make new hatches. So rather than using the existing one, say an operator that had the ability to blast a brand new hole through a floor that you could jump down.
Well, they took that out for a reason. There is a very good reason they took that out.
If you remember in the E3 trailer, when they were when the hostage, like they took the hostage from like kids room or something, and they took it into weight room, and training room in on house, and the one guy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do death from above," and you breach the floor, and there's no steel beams. You just completely breach through, and I feel like there's definitely a reason why they didn't do that, because I feel like then it just is like, well, what are you gonna do now? It feels like there's way too many lines of sight then that you can open up with as the attackers.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's just like, so I think that's an interesting idea, but I feel like it would just be an absolute nightmare to deal with, and it would just be like way too much on the defending team.
Unless it was well announced, like a thermite charge, in the fact that you have more than enough time.
That's still like an area of the room that you can't camp in anymore, or not even camp, just you can't defend anymore.
Exactly. Remember that one room in that's like the first room that comes to my mind when it comes to hatches. It's that one room with a vault in the second floor in clubhouse. That room is always a fucking nightmare to defend because there's this one hatch that you can't really reinforce. I mean, you can, but to do that you gotta like get on the roof and then stand outside and reinforce while everyone can see you.
It's not practical. I don't know what they thought they were doing with it. They're like, oh, well, they got a hatch in the room, and then the one guy's like, okay, how do the defenders reinforce it? And then the other guy just didn't answer.
Like a while ago, it's been quite a while since I've seen that, but I've seen like some, also I think it was footage from E3 or maybe open alpha, closed alpha footage, something like that, where I saw like pretty much the game was finished, but it wasn't balanced yet. And I saw some map, I think it was here for base, where they put another hatch like on the roof, and that wasn't in the end game that they actually brought out. So they did experiment with those hatches like everywhere, and they added and removed some at some places, and they really did try to make it balanced. And I think just blowing random hatches everywhere is not gonna be the solution to that. At least that's what I feel.
I agree. And going on, because there was mentioning another operator idea, one that I once I heard of. I haven't seen anything on the subreddit or anything, but I do remember reading an article like a year or two back about how a Polish, keep in mind Polish, this is a real article, weapons manufacturer was looking for a way to make an assault rifle and sniper rifle combined, to where you could switch between it becoming a sniper rifle and then just going to assault rifle, kind of
like real life Widowmaker.
Yeah, and kind of like Buck, but not like an underbarrel. Like you could change, like you would put in a different like say like the assault rifle. I don't know how far it's gone or anything, but or how it would be in the game. But like imagine, say it's like an assault rifle, it's an M4A1. You got a 30 round clip on an assault rifle, and then you pull out if you want to switch, you like, I don't know, do something with the barrel, and then you could put in like a 10 round sniper clip.
The only problem I could foresee with that is that in this game your ranges don't favor snipers.
That's true, but perhaps damage might be favorable. Maybe,
but I just think it seems a bit pointless in the fact that assault rifles in this already have a massive range advantage. The fact that it'd basically be like a glass where you could change the scope. Yeah. So like you'd have like a flip up optic. And
again, I just want to bring up really quick a thing that I say a lot is if it would be so easy to do, they would have put it in the game already. And there is a reason it isn't in the game. There is a reason why Glass is how he is right now. I don't exactly know why Glass has such a big damage drop off. Like that shit makes no sense to me. No clue. But I can see why they wouldn't put a sniper into the game, because when you like, people are already complaining about shotguns. What you're trying to give an operator is a shotgun that has infinite range. People are already complaining about that shit. And when you can one-shot, pretty much, like Glass can one-shot Lee one-arm operators on like medium range. But if you give that to like an operator a sniper rifle, like an actual sniper rifle that can be used in somewhat closer ranges, then I don't know. It's not gonna end well. That's all I'm saying. People are gonna complain all the time because you can't just, like, most of the objectives you can't even sit outside. Maybe you sometimes get around on house where you can sit on the sniper towers. You see a Glass there, and you see them on plane. But what if you get basement in bank? What do you do then with a Glass? You don't do anything. You're restricted to close quarter combat. You can't snipe into windows because there aren't any. and all you can do is go into the stupid tunnel and snipe to like through the doorway, and if you're really lucky, there's someone walking there. But other than that, you close quarter.
An idea I quite like the look of was a thermal vision operator. So
Yeah,
you can
well-
pop smokes and stuff and then see through them.
Like we used to be able to do with IQ.
Yeah, but that's pulse as well, right?
Yeah,
It's
but they
just
would have it
pulse.
like as an activated sort of like a goggles type thing, so you'd have thermal optics.
It would be like an
Pulse
attacking.
can see through walls. Thermal vision couldn't see through walls, but it could see through smoke.
Yeah,
Why-
maybe,
why
but
wouldn't
then
it
they
be-
must make smoke client-side, not client-sided, server-sided.
Yeah, true.
Well, also, why wouldn't you be able to see through walls at that point? Thermal vision can see through walls, yes. At least like the soft walls, not like maybe concrete, but like the soft walls.
No, it can't. FLIR optics at this moment in time wouldn't pick up a heat signature unless it had been standing next to the wall for a long time, because the wall would just block your thermal signature.
I did hear about that. Not the way I heard about it was not as a new operator. It was as a way to buff glass. Interesting. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, I think that would be broken though if glass could see through walls.
No, not see through walls. To see smoke.
Oh yeah, no, I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, actually, maybe. But yeah, the main problem is they put. I think it comes down to the destruction. We already have for a first-person shooter, we have insane pings in this game, and like 80 or something ping is not, at least not in 2016, is not an acceptable ping in a first-person shooter. And you can easily get over 100. You can see people that have way over 100, and which is not acceptable. And I think. Look, I'm not a game developer. I'm not too deep into this, but I think that is caused by all the destruction and how the game is created around this whole kind of destruction idea. And maybe that's the reason why they don't make the smoke client-sided, because that's even the smoke server-sided, because that makes the server even more laggy than it already is.
Perhaps it's just annoying though when like an enemy like Frost can see you, but you can't see them because of the smoke. Because like on your side it's a bit to the left, but on hers it was a bit to the right. So it's just she's got clear line of sight on you, but the smoke is blocking your vision.
Yeah, I've had that in a video like a couple of days ago, where there was a thermite that was the last one left, and everyone was watching him, and he had like a semi-clear sight of what he was doing, and everyone spectating was like, "What the fuck? How did you see him?" It's fucked up. Like, yeah. I don't understand why it's client-sided. I mean, I can understand why, but I don't understand how that is helping the balance of the game.
Whilst we're talking about buffs, etc., to certain operators, shall we move on to the big one?
Ooh.
The Lord, the Lord himself.
But how do you buff the Lord?
Real quick, I wanted to mention the last like community suggested operator for year 2 being the one that can see defensive cameras. And what you guys thought about that, real quick.
So IQ.
No.
You mean see through. I was about to say that sounds. We already have that.
Oh, so you mean like hack them basically?
Yeah.
So Sombra.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I think that'd be an alright idea, but I think the problem with that would be that your team would just shoot the cameras anyway.
Yeah, well, that might be. Well, maybe in like casual or something, but maybe if you get like if you're playing with the team and they know at least that you have a like. Well, we'll just nickname her Sombra for now. And then, like, say if your team knows you have a Sombra, then it's just well, don't shoot the camera. I mean, I'm sure it might be impulse, but for the most part, like it wouldn't be like you're trying to see the outside cameras. You want to go like vault lobby camera on bank.
Yeah.
To see if there's like if they got someone in the elevator or there's someone in vault or see if there's someone peeking that CCTV, that kind of stuff. I think it'd be interesting dynamic to see. I don't know how versatile it would be. I think it would be helpful, like really helpful, but I'm not sure. But I did see a lot of people suggesting that idea. It's not like it's that far out there. I think it's not like it doesn't exist. It's not like it wouldn't be helpful. I just think it would be a cool idea.
I think Matimio actually mentioned that on like a Sunday mailbox or something. It's been a while ago.
I think the only problem with that is that you have a better version of that in the form of drones that every operator has.
Basically, yeah. And Matimio kind of nailed it down to the point where it's either gonna be super broken or super bad, because when you can do it across the map, then you get double the input. You can see everything, right? But if you do it, if you say you have to be in range of like the 20 meters or so, then why would you check that camera if you're that close anyways?
Yeah, that's why I think it shouldn't be like a range thing. I think that it would be like you can just like you've hacked the system, like the CCTV feed, and you just can send it to your little phone thing that they have.
I did see one idea, which was like a defensive operator that basically had like a sonar type device that he puts on walls. So not quite pulse, where you can just see heartbeats and stuff. But you get maybe 2 or 3 of them that you place on a wall, and then when an enemy's nearby, it pings them.
Oh, so like the metal detectors basically, but with a ping included.
Yeah, so like as soon as it spots an enemy, it's through the wall, it pings them, and obviously it would make a noise because it'd be a sonar, so you'd hear the beep and you'd know you were detected. So you'd have counterplay to it, and I don't think it would be too strong.
Yeah, that sounds like a decent thing.
The other idea that's kind of similar is the one that where it's like you know how they're talking about how the way that Kapkan, Frost, and like this unnamed operator would be was that like Kapkan's a high risk, high reward, like a low risk, low reward. Yes. Point being is that his traps are easy to see for the most part.
Yeah.
And they're even easier to miss. Like if you don't know where they're coming from, you just kind of space the 3 out and hope that. Yeah, and you just hope that I hope they run through this, that kind of thing. But if they do, then that's a kill. You got it. Frost is a bit more like hidden, like if they're vaulting through windows, especially, and then they don't know that you have a Frost, or they don't, they're not thinking. Then you just downs them though. So a lot of times they can just get picked back up if you're not close enough to it. But it still gets them down half health and it works out. The other one would be if it was less of that, where it was extremely like you could set up like multiple of them, or like they were like almost invisible, that kind of stuff, to the point where like but they don't instantly kill them or anything. It's just like a sonic thing, like you can hear like the metal detectors. That one's been on Matimio's Sunday Mailbox and the Reddit all the time. But I think it's another good idea.
Problem with metal detectors is that a 6-inch blade never loses reception.
That's true, but it does get protected by metal detector.
We found the counter to the 6-inch blades. Metal
Damn.
detectors.
Thatcher enough confirmed.
Oh boy.
Right.
But yeah, back. We were talking about buffing a lord.
It's been like an hour.
Oh yeah, it has.
We're longer than that, yeah.
Shall we save the Lord for after the break?
I mean, we can take a break. Yeah. Let's take a break. Let's take 5 minutes of break, and so you can all go take a wee wee, and I don't know what. Go get a drink or something. We will be back in about 5 minutes.
Take a wee wee, he says. What are you, man?
Take a wee wee. I'm 5.
Fucking 10 years old.
Be right back.
And we're back.
Welcome back.
We're doing live.
Hey.
Let me quickly play the video before we resume. There we go.
Yes. All right, we were talking about the most useful operator in Siege. Yes. CHANKA.
Yes.
The Lord himself.
The Lord himself.
All right, so this is like a bombshell, but CHANKA's a worthless operator to some of you. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but he's not good.
Get out.
The thing is, he's so bad he's become a meme, and that says
so
something.
Bad. He's good at becoming a meme. Like, yeah, honestly, it's impressive at this point, but more than anything. But it worries me the fact that it's been a year now and they haven't found a way to buff him. Like, how hard is it to buff a LMG that does massive damage? And there's like, it's not like there's not a ton of suggestions. There's a lot of suggestions on Reddit. I mean, like I said, like we all said, he's become a meme. I mean, there's so many suggestions of how to buff. I mean, half of them are jokes, but the other half are actual suggestions. And I'm curious to see A, what they do, and B, when they're gonna finally buff him, because it's only been 12 months.
Yeah, that's I don't know.
I think. Sorry, Tommy.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think what CHANKA was designed to do was to be able to lock down a place. So you could literally go, oh, we don't have to worry about that door. We don't have to worry about that corridor. CHANKA's got it locked down. And obviously he can't do that because all that happens is he becomes immobile, gets droned out, and gets spawned and gets peaked.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a good way to sort of buff him would maybe sort of be to increase his protection to the front, but limit his field of view. So he has some form of shield, I don't know, around the front, or something protecting his head so he can't get insta-gibed. And then that would allow him to hold that corridor a lot more effectively because he can't just get one shot before he can react.
The problem with that is that he might become too strong. Like it seems like it's such an easy solution, but there is some reason they didn't do it yet. There must be some reason behind it. Either it doesn't work or it works way too well, and it's probably really hard to fucking balance that because
the problem with CHANKA is he's all about paper, all about the fact that he works on paper and not in practice. And I think, I don't know if it's what Turd suggested sounds like it works, but I don't know if it would work in practice. I think it sounds great on paper, but because from what I'm hearing is what you want him to be able to do is he can't turn as much, so he can't like watch multiple ways. And if someone flanks him, he's got to do that animation of getting off his turret and then actually turning around and everything. And I think that sounds like a nice way to counter it. The fact that if he has like a front shield and everything, if it becomes like more stationary than it is now, like if it becomes harder, to take down and set up somewhere else. If it becomes, less of a rotation and it more of just you got this corridor. That's all you have to do is hold down this corridor. Because then, like, say for I don't know what's a good way to put it. Maybe trying to think of a good room that he would be good in. But if I can't think of anything real fast, that might be a good sign. Maybe a train room on cafe. Like maybe he can completely watch one of the doorways. Or he's got it locked down. He's got to worry about the hatch if they blow it, and then the fireplace, not dining room, or even on kitchen prep in that same map. It just there'd be good ways to where you don't have to peek it riskfully, like with like a smoke or someone. You have to peek in it real fast. You're sitting there trying to make sure you don't get one tapped. But if you got CHANKA watching it, then it actually becomes like you feel almost secure.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea of a way to buff him. But again, I'm hoping that if they do implement such a thing, it doesn't just work on paper, that it actually works in practice. So where he can hold down corridors, he can hold down hallways, he can hold down doors without becoming overpowered. He can you have to work around him. I feel like that would be a great, like a defensive Montaigne. Like you got to work around it. Like when Montaigne's blocking a doorway to something, and you got to figure out a way to get around him. I feel like
same with CHANKA.
That's how it should be with CHANKA. You got to work around him. You got to, I don't know, maybe send a Twitch drone to just hurt him up a bit. Maybe have a black peek him to like try and shoot through whatever front defenses he has. And then, or just simply like maybe you can make a kill hole below, or maybe you can kill hole above to the point where you can shoot him through there. Or if he's like stupid enough to set it like next to a soft wall, then you can shoot him through there. But I think that would work. I think that would be much better to make him more viable than just what he is now, which is honestly a joke.
Yeah, he is pretty much a joke. I don't know. I have one thing that it's like the most ridiculous thing, but I feel like there might be some reason behind it. And maybe they're gonna do that, but in a different way. All right, my idea is give CHANKA like a train set, like a toy train set, and put the turret like make him build a tiny train that he can put his turret on, and then just drive around on those tracks. Don't give him like full-on movement with the turret, but like a set path that he can move back and forth on. And that makes him not insanely mobile, but still mobile enough so he doesn't get peaked every single time. Like the idea itself is probably completely ridiculous, but he needs something. He needs some sort of movement.
Just because you're a train doesn't mean you need to turn everything else into a train.
I'm Thomas the Tank Engine, so the Dank Engine.
It would be funny to look in and just see all these train tracks set up. It's like a little kid was playing in that room
He
just an
gets a
hour
giant
before,
backpack, and when you
and then all
spawn,
of a
there's
sudden,
just
choo choo, motherfuckers! Here comes the CHANKA.
you can combine that with like an impact. Just let the train like, what up, motherfuckers? Just go right through the wall with a train. That would be
And
fun.
then the moment he starts progressing on his little track thing, you just get headshotted, and he's like, "Well, that was fun while it lasted." Rip to CHANKA.
Just play the fucking slam dunk Thomas theme
Yeah.
tune engine song.
They have like speakers attached to the side as well. That would be great.
Fucking, that's it, Thomas the Dank engine. Biggie Smalls featuring Thomas.
You can actually. How about we? That is. Look, Ubisoft, you're here. I know you're here. We want that, and then just give us a Thomas the Tank Engine skin for him. We've got Mage Thermite. We can have Thomas the Tank Engine Tachanka. I think that is a great idea. I like that.
I think that, and also in terms of Tachanka, I just think that how much damage does LMG do? Because whenever I do get a kill with it, which is like way too rare because I don't play him at all, but it does feel like it hits like a truck. Like it just like smacks through you. It feels like it does a lot of damage.
It does.
But again,
It too hits you.
it just like if you combine it with like Kiker's advantage and everything, the fact that if you get drawn out, they know who you are and how immobile you are for the most part. It doesn't matter, and that's why he's so bad. But I feel like if they do manage to make a way to buff him, then I feel like it will be, you know, it'll be nice and at least viable. The other thing though is about how you know how it's like a stand the way his turret's at, like because you stand on it. You know, it's like another thing is like just like a bipod, like a normal bipod that you can set up, but you can go crouched on it. You can put it like over a desk or something to where it's more like what's the word? It's more versatile. Like you can put it
Yeah.
on, or like you could go prone somewhere if you wanted and just put it on the floor. Like on prone on snowmobile garage, just set it up and then just you start firing when they open it with a thermite or something, or you set it on the snowmobile in the snowmobile garage, or also maybe like wine cellar, for instance, on that same map. You like that little desk in wine cellar. You're just watching that doorway with the Chenka. You know, that stuff like that, or like even that small wine cellar, the separate room, like you sit it up on top of that and watch the doorway from there, like you make a kill hole. I don't know. I think there's a lot of options, and makes it much more versatile. If it's like just a normal bipod, not a tripod stand, just a normal bipod you can like set up very quickly. You just smash it down and then just start firing almost. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I just want to quickly. I think you got the idea from Gat a lot, and if I don't mention him here,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
gonna fucking kill me.
To be fair,
So,
that
yeah,
idea has been on the
that's him.
Reddit about 20
Oh yeah,
times.
the idea has been everywhere too, but that's
Probably, I don't know.
directly is where I found it from Guthla, because we were talking about ways to buff operators.
Yeah, exactly. He had the general idea. I don't know where he got it from. If he thought it from of himself, but I think.
I mean,
he
if he
did.
thought of it by himself, then hats off to him. If he didn't, I mean, I understand because it's I feel it's everywhere now. It's not like it's hard. It's not like it's hard to find.
I feel like a test server would be appropriate every now and then. Like they always test their changes with like pro league players and I don't know, maybe even big YouTubers.
I feel like that in itself is a flaw because like they need a community test environment.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Yeah, like a PTR
Not-
similar to Overwatch.
Yeah, not an ESL test environment because they play very differently than like like you go from pro down to like normal diamond down to like the plats and the gold, and there's different ways. Like operators are picked more in one ranked division than they are in another, you know, to the point where I think that just using the pros to, you know, test out an operator and on PC only, it's like, well, you know, then you only get like a gun, say recoil is really manageable on PC. It's like, oh, it's solid weapon, and then you get the console, and it's like it just goes up like a truck. It just, you know, just kicks like a mule, that kind of thing. And it's like, well, this gun is horrid to use, or like their gadget isn't as useful. Well, I don't see any differences between console and PC with gadget, but I do think that they might need to expand their testing with it. Like maybe have just like Dice has like the the game changers and stuff like that. People would just like test out the things before they go live to the point where it's not like an open test. I mean, the ranked is still in the beta, and it's been, a year since the game's come out. Somehow, I don't know how, but
Yeah, I don't understand that either. How is that? How?
I think it's like a liability thing. Like, oh, I mean, sorry, you lost, your rank because of our servers. It's only a beta.
I feel like Ubisoft is sometimes just starting projects and never finishes them. It's the same with tactic realism. They were like, yo, we're gonna implement that shit. It's been out, like, when did tactic realism come out? With Season 3? With the Brazilian CTU?
It might have been before that, but yeah, more or less.
And they didn't do jack. They didn't do anything.
I'm pretty sure that they made tactical realism, because on the Season 1 roadmap it mentioned more game modes.
Yeah.
And then they said what game modes?
They said game modes as well. Like that.
Yeah,
let's be honest. That is a blatant lie. We did not get game modes. We got one half-finished one. I'm sorry. The concept is amazing, but you can't just make a game mode and then leave it as it is, like halfway finished.
By the way,
I would play the shit out of tactical realism if that was like a mainstream game.
The problem with it is just absolutely unbalanced. You can play tactical realism, and you can before they nerfed Pulse, he was absolutely broken. He's still super broken in tactical realism because you can't see teammates. If you could see, that's such a tiny thing that they could change. Make Pulse see enemies and friendlies in his heartbeat sensor, because now you don't have to differentiate. You know that there's nothing to fear when you run around the corner, and you see nothing on your heartbeat sensor, because anything that crosses you is a teammate. But as soon as you see everything in the heartbeat sensor, you gotta constantly be aware of that. That makes Pulse like absolutely broken. People were complaining in normal games about Pulse, how he's broken, and 90% of you probably didn't even pick him up or didn't even play any tactical realism at all. We didn't have the chance to test it because not everyone can get like 10 people together, and that's really messed up. Like we don't get the chance to actually test and play the game modes that we want to try. And even then, even if we can test them, they're not gonna make any changes to it anyways. We haven't heard about tactical realism in patch notes or from Ubisoft for like half a year now. And
what I think
I'm really
happened
disappointed.
is they made the roadmap and mentioned new game modes, they plan on getting back to it, and then they're like, well, shit, what do we do? Okay, I still haven't thought of any good viable game modes, and I've seen some suggestions on the Reddit and stuff, but they don't seem that interesting to me. Like they don't seem. Most of them are either just like they're a varying difference from hostage, secure, or bomb, like to the point where it's just hostage, secure, or bomb, but a bit different, But we were like expecting different game modes. They get to be like, all right, we have to pick, we can't pick the same setup, because now for the most part, in between bomb, hostage, and secure, you can take the same operators. Like there's very little differentiating factors that make you want to be like, oh, I can't grab this operator. I mean, Fuse might be one,
except that you have to pick Fuse on hostage.
Yeah,
I saw quite a good idea for like a hack type game mode where there was an objective that defenders had to defend and the attackers have to hack it. And in order to do that, they pick up the laptop or whatever and move around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it was like a bomb/secure area mix, right?
Yeah, so like you've got this laptop that defenders have to defend, and the attackers have to pick it up, and then basically, if you're stationary, you'll hack faster. If you're moving, you won't hack as fast. And so the defenders have to try and stop that hack.
That sounds like fun. Like that seems like a pretty decent idea.
How would the defenders try and stop the hack? I feel like it would be easier.
Kill the hacker.
Okay, but how would the attackers get the laptop? Did they just start out with it and then they decide to move into the
more
building?
I think of it, yeah, the problem is that what are the defenders gonna reinforce first off, and second off, what keeps you from just running around like the entire map? You can on some maps you can play it on house. That's like, it's probably pretty fair because you can hear pretty much anyone anywhere. But as soon as you go into something like bank, you can just hide like in the basement and reinforce upstairs, and the defenders spend like an entire 3 minutes searching for the defender that has the thing in the first place, and he can just like we have some footage running right now on Cafe Dostoevsky where there is this stupid little cupboard that you can climb into, and you can hide there. What if you do something like that? You can do the most ridiculous bullshit with that. I feel like the idea is really nice, but it just doesn't fit with the game, especially with the entire reinforcements thing, where you have to reinforce a room, you have to defend a room.
I do understand why they haven't added any new game modes though, because I feel like it's hard to, because I feel like there's like a different set. Like I think bomb, secure, and hostage are pretty sound game modes. I mean, everyone has their preference. Like some people don't like hostage, some people don't like bomb, that kind of thing. But for the most part, they follow the same formula. And I guess you could complain about that because that kind of ties into what the operators thing, how you don't need different operators,
Mm-hmm.
but also you get into this realm of like it's a completely different game mode, like if you do someone else, and then it changes the gameplay completely. Like someone in chat mentioned a King of the Hill game mode that I saw also, but it feels like it would fit better in Battlefield or COD than it would a Rainbow Six game where
Yeah,
you don't
definitely.
respawn. Like it would just it feels like not cheesy, but it feels like it wouldn't work out that well. Like it would be way too different of a dynamic and a way too different of a gameplay, to the point where I don't think it'd be as enjoyable. But then you run into the problem on the opposite spectrum, is that how do you make it to where they're hostage secure and bomb without being hostage secure and bomb? So I understand their dilemma, but I just feel like they should have mentioned that, oh, you're getting new game modes by the end of the year, without actually giving us new game modes by the end of the year.
Yeah,
I had an
that's the
idea of like a VIP game mode at one point, where you've got like one defender who's a VIP, and the attackers need to kill him to win.
But then again, you kind of have to do a thing where you restrict the VIP to a certain area, because otherwise, where's the reinforcement part? Again, like you can't
Well,
just take out the
it could be like an eliminate hostage type thing, where you've got the hostage need, but then again, that'd be way too easy for attackers, wouldn't it? They'd just fuse him.
But isn't that just hostage? But except that you are a hostage. Isn't that the exact same thing? It's hostage, but the hostage can shoot.
And
Basically.
here's the other thing. You know how there's certain maps where there's like one definite room that's like the best room to go to, like laundry room, for example, on Oregon, and then maybe like well, garages
Like
changed.
boathouse on Canal.
Yep.
Yeah, and like armory on Clubhouse. But if the game mode is where you don't have a specific place to where you have to stay, then you could just it's like back Thomas, you wouldn't remember this, but do you remember at the beginning of Siege where you could go to the same room over and over again?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
It
Okay,
just turned
so
into like everyone picking armor in Hereford base, and that's
everyone
all
just
you would
picked-
attack.
pretty much everyone just picked the basement over and over again on almost all the maps. It was just the basement, or an exception like maybe train room was picked pretty often over kitchen. But yeah, so it was like, and if you go into that realm, then it's just, why don't you just go to the basement and play that forever?
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. That's, by the way, is the reason why. Oops, I don't want to go on the Reddit. What am I doing? That's definitely the reason why I like casual much more, because I don't like playing the same objective like 5 times in a row. What stream do we watch? This one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't really like playing the same objective all the time. That's one of the big reasons I don't like playing ranked so much. Because every time I did play, it was just, yeah, pick basement or don't pick anything, and meh.
And I also see a lot of suggestions both in chat on the game on the Reddit and stuff, is like combining the game modes where like you need to defuse the bomb before you can extract the hostage, like this one guy in chat just said. And I mean, I think that also work on paper, but then it would just be like a bitch to go through. Like, oh, it's bombing hostage, but
It would turn into a deathmatch.
yeah, it would just, no one would go play objective. It would just join out where they all are and then kill them. Because then on attacking, why would you would have to clear out a bomb site to plant and defuse and make sure they don't defuse the diffuser, and then you gotta be like, all right, now I gotta get the hostage. But and it's like, in terms of the gameplay, why wouldn't you just get the hostage first and then defuse the bomb? Like, depending on what they have, like if they have 3 guys on the hostage and 2 guys on the bomb, just get the bomb first, or vice versa, just get the hostage first. Which is why I don't think they should just combine the game modes, because I feel like that wouldn't work out well. I think they work out well in their own right, but to combine them wouldn't work
I'd have a really easy idea for a new game mode. Like, you don't need to be. It doesn't need to be a competitive game mode. We just want some different things, right? Not everyone plays ranked all the time. Not everyone sees this game as an ultra competitive game mode. There's a lot of people that are like, yeah, I have like an hour a week, and I just want to hop into this game and have some fun. And that's really, I don't know, the issue with that is that you then get to this elitist kind of you go and only kind of help those people that play this game really competitively, and you leave those people that play casually behind.
Well, see, but then if you
And,
go the other way, where it's
what-
like a fun game mode where it's just king of the hill and you don't care if you die and it's just like a clusterfuck.
What I'd really like, sorry, what I don't know, I kind of just went off the point here. What I'd really like is just some game modes that make no sense. Like, I would like to see, look at Hearthstone, or at I don't know, Heroes, not Heroes of the Storm, fucking Overwatch. Look at Overwatch. Look at what Overwatch did. They did they did these heroic brawls. It was just brawls or heroic brawls. They did something like that.
Arcade mode, yeah.
Or arcades. It's apparently it's called arcade modes now, where you just pick like, you get the most random shit. Get the same hero 10 times, or we could do a simple thing. Let the attackers defend and let the defenders attack for like a week. Or do, I don't know, everyone picks the same operator. I feel like those fun game modes are missing, and it's such an easy thing to program as well. I at least assume. Like, as I said, I'm not a game developer, I'm not a programmer, but
I think wasn't there a thing called like Lucio Ball or something too?
yeah, that is a fun thing that you could do.
See, here's the thing.
10 versus 10 sounds great. Do it.
Here, I think that the problem with that being is then you exclude the whole intense, like the people who play ranked all the time, the ones who just want another meta changing gameplay.
Yeah, but you don't even need to put too many resources into it. That's the thing. You don't need to have it like super balanced. You just put it on for like a week. You get like one person to do that.
I agree that would be fun if it was just like in casual and stuff, but I feel like there's a vast amount of people who want like a new ranked game that like is more like, not necessarily like more competitive and more tactical, but just a different way to play it, you know? Because like you play bomb very differently than what you would play secure, and same thing with hostage, because like you can't have that many roamers on hostage, because if they kill the 2 guys or 3 guys in the room, the other 2 roamers, they got to run back before the hostage gets extracted. Whereas on secure, you have a bit of a time, you know, the attackers have to stay in that room, so it's not like they're running outside, and you also have more time to get back. And then bomb, it obviously you plant on A, and then you go out and watch the diffuser, make sure no one, and it's just a massacre for the defending team while they try to defuse it. But anyways, I just think that there needs to be another one of those game modes. And I think that more fun, like just goofy game modes would be nice and everything. Like to have a team of CHANKAs versus a team of glasses would be nice, but it wouldn't obviously be like people who like it shouldn't play in ranked is my thing.
Like, you could maybe even combine that. Like, I know that you obviously you don't, if you try hard, you don't really care about this at all. But I don't know, a really good example would be that you could you look at what Hearthstone did. I don't know if you guys pay attention to Hearthstone at all, but they did a really clever thing. They started these tavern brawls, and they put like absolutely ridiculous tavern brawls in. And they essentially use those tavern brawls to test new mechanics that come out in the next expansion, which is really clever. It's like you get a tavern brawl where at the start of your turn you can choose one of those one of 3 cards that are randomly given to you. You can choose one of them, and then just play. You choose one of them and you get them into your hand, and then you can play them the next turn. They tested that out, and guess what the next expansion was? It was exactly that mechanic. Like as a full-on expansion built around this one single mechanic. And I feel like you could do a similar thing with Siege, where you just add like a random thing to Siege, just to see how it would work out if people would try it out, and maybe then build it into the game at some point, or just make us do like super random shit. I don't know. There is so much potential, so many things that you could do that would be fun without ruining the game for others. You could just implement. You can just implement a new game mode into Siege, and just as a second playlist that you could pick, and nobody would be mad. They would be all like, yeah, that is cool. That if I don't want to play ranked, let's play this piece of shit game mode that I don't care about if I win or lose.
What about you, Turd?
Sorry, I was looking at a cool doggo.
You're very on topic today.
We're still talking about new game modes.
Yes.
I was thinking, like, rather than new game modes, I had an idea for a new map.
A new map. Okay, changing subject. Go on.
Yeah, it's kind of related, but it's I would really like a shopping center, like a mall.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that
Interesting.
would work so beautifully.
I think it would too, but I think well, it depends on how they would structure that. Like, I don't know if you know about like a lot of the way malls are set up here in America. That is, at least, it's like there's like each store like it's individual store. Like you have a clothing store, then you'll have like a on another floor on the other side you'll have like a restaurant or something. But then you have to think about where the like the bombs and the hostage would be, and like the way they're set up, like the way shopping centers are set up, it's like try to imagine flank routes and how they would work.
Well, the
'Cause,
way
like,
they are here is you've got the one that's near me is called Westfield. It's the biggest shopping centre in Europe, but it's got 3 stories, and you've got obviously the 2 rows of stores on each story, and then you've got like the service routes on each side as well,
mhm.
which could work as flanking routes.
But are the service routes, are they like staircases?
Yeah, there's like stairs and lifts and stuff in them.
Okay, well it would depend on how open they are, because here it's just like a walkway kind of thing, to the point where like it would be hard to flank. Like it almost would feel like you're outside. Like, cause like the equivalent would be, I think it's a great idea. I just think they got to be careful how they set it up, because like it depends on how the map works out.
Something like a train station would work as well, I think.
Yeah, I still want the skyscraper. Like, we got kind of a skyscraper. It's a restaurant. It's not a skyscraper. I don't know. They called the map skyscraper, but just because it's on top of a skyscraper. But from the first moment on, I wanted one where you basically have one wall where you can rappel down safely, and the other walls are just completely out of glass, and you can just rappel up and down there as well.
Well, you know how well Favelas was received, right?
Yeah, I know, but you can't see through the walls in favelas. That's the thing. And
But I think people got annoyed about how like
actually, now that you say it, yeah, probably a bad idea.
Yeah. I like the idea too, but I don't know how well it work out.
Go on.
No, I just think that a skyscraper map, like depending on how they did it, it'd be like, I think they did it perfectly well. And it's just a restaurant on top of a skyscraper, but it's a really cool map. Going through it, I like the way it's designed already. I like, well, obviously it's very detailed also, but that's in terms of gameplay, it doesn't mean much. But I just think that trying to do it any other way wouldn't really work out. Like, I feel like you could. What else are you gonna do? A bunch of offices.
I just feel like there needs to be more conventional terrorist targets in the maps. Like, because all the maps we got at the moment, I can't really see a terrorist attacking, to be honest.
Well, they're not all designed to be terrorist attack points. Like Oregon, for example, is obviously not a place that terrorists would attack. But in terms of what little story there is, it was like a little Splinter Cell base. Airplane.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That
The airplane, yeah, I can see the airplane.
Hereford base is obviously just a training set.
Yeah, it's the SAS training site.
And then you got like chalet and clubhouse. That wouldn't really be a target. They're just a chalet and a clubhouse. What else? House. That's not really like that. That wouldn't be like a major terrorist like attack target. It would just be like a minor hostage, like kind of like in that E3 trailer. It wasn't like You remember how it was set up?
Yeah, it could
Yeah.
just be like, oh, it's the president's wife or something. It's probably not the president's wife, but like, oh, it's some
Lives in a
high
suburban
guy's.
house.
Yeah. They just capture the house and barricade it in a matter of a couple minutes until the attackers arrive. And I get the idea, but you can use that excuse pretty much anywhere. They took a hostage and took it to or actually, the bank is like a robbery. That makes sense. But they took a hostage and put it in
Oh, no,
in a
no, the
restaurant.
bank, they're like, oh, good, we breached the vault. Let's put our bomb in here. And then,
Yeah, I like how the bombs are set up there as well. Like they just came with gigantic trucks and took like a good hour to heave those like down there.
but what else was I gonna say? We never did finish talking about the operator bus. We talked about the Lord, and then we kind of forgot about IQ, Glass, and Castle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true that.
IQ, I don't know how you buffer. Like you could give
I
her more
think-
range, but she'd become too strong.
I think I don't think the range is the problem because have it like it's already 20 meters. Anything out from that, it's like it's hard to shoot it. You know.
I think maybe if she could have it on her primary weapon, so she could use her primary as well as it
Yeah,
would be good.
one of the example, you know that one headgear she has where it's like there's a little thing like blocking her eye. It's like an aviator. I forget what it's
Yeah.
called, but it's like to have it like that where it's like more of a passive thing. Like you can like from what I heard, it was like Cavier's silent step, where it's like more of a like on a time thing, but you can use it while you're using your primary. So
Yeah.
like any pulse that's trying to pulse, because like I've had it a couple of times where I used to play IQ quite a bit, and like I would know what Pulse is doing, where he's at, because I have 20 meters range and he has 9, and I would shoot it like try and shoot him with my pistol, and I don't know what happened, but he would like sometimes you just dodge it, you know, for the and if it did hit him, it was like in the chest or the arm, and it wasn't didn't do that much damage, and plus the P12 it fires pretty fast, but it's not as fast as an assault rifle. So I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
if they could use it,
obviously.
if you could use it with her LMG or with her 5.52 commando, I think it would be much more valuable, and I think it would be. But that still begs the question: is how useful is seeing the electronics? You already know where most of the cameras like. If you're a good player, you know the maps like the back of your hand. You know where all the cameras are. You don't need IQ to find them. If they have a Valkyrie player that keeps throwing cameras outside and stuff, yeah, I guess you could go
The
IQ.
Valkyrie is the only reason. All the other gadgets, like all the important gadgets that you need, you can't reach them anyway because they're behind reinforcements all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
I like-
there's some exceptions where they can shoot them from above or below and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's like, especially comparatively, like if you're like, well, I could take an IQ, or a Thatcher, or a Sledge.
Yeah, you can literally
or
just pick
any
Thatcher
other
because you
operator.
see where all, as I just said, the important gadgets are behind reinforcements, so you can't reach them. And when you see the reinforcements, you know there's shit behind there. Just throw your Thatcher thing there. You don't need to know if there's anything there. You just throw it there, and if there isn't anything there, then that's already a win for your team. And if not, you get bonus points.
The chat
And-
seemed to like the idea that she could see people on the phones, which I think is a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good point.
Yeah, I think that was good too, especially since I think one thing that they should do is that you don't see friendly drones, because I can't tell you how many times I've been chasing a friendly drone around, thinking it's Pulse, and it goes
Yeah.
and it's like this kid's been droning this whole time, and I've been following him, and then also that you can see the defender's camera, so that way like if there's some guy camping in like a bathroom or something and he's on his thing, you can wall bang him pretty easily. Like especially with Echo. Now, I feel like that would be everything. I mean, sure you could shoot out his yokai, but imagine if you could see where he's camping at and just like wallbang him.
Oh, that would be so satisfying.
Yeah, it would.
And the other, so I think there's definitely several ways they could buff IQ. But another way is I don't know about how on console, but on PC. But her weapons aren't that great. Like they have a lot of recoil. They have a lot of recoil. Like the 5.52 commando, I like the gun, but it's got quite a bit of kick to it. Even with the vertical grip, I feel like it's got a good amount of quick. Her LMG's all right, I guess. It fires really fast. It's a hard hitting LMG, but again, the way I see it is you got to compare it to the other 3-speed operators. And like if you were to go by weaponry, you would take Ash first, then maybe Capital, then Hibana, then IQ if you really wanted, like really wanted to.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I play
I
IQ
just-
for the weapons and because I like playing stupid shit.
Well, like I said, I may, perhaps it's vastly different on PC, but I just think that mayhaps her weapons need a buff. But I could be in the minority. It could just be on a console. You know.
Oh,
But I definitely think, especially her gadget compared to everyone else's gadget on attack, is relatively low. Like it's right there with Glass. I think her weapons, if you compare to the other 3-speed operators, is like the bottom of the barrel compared to like Capital, Ash, and Hibana.
Yeah, I strongly agree on the 5F2. The 5F2 is too weak. That is just my general assessment. I don't like the 5F2 at all. I never pick it. The LMG it's pretty good, but it's really fucking slow. Like to whip that thing out of your pocket, it takes like a good 2 seconds or so, and when you aim down sight, that takes forever too. And my weapon of choice is just the AUG, and that thing, I don't know, I just like it. It has a lot of punch to it. I put a silence on it because why not? Tried that out. Still has an awful lot of punch, and you can still just melt through people, especially the low armor operators, even without like just going for the head all the time. But that's like the only thing that IQ is going for her. She's fast and she has like a decent weapon. I feel like the GSG9 shotgun would actually fit her really, really well.
I feel like if they added the GSG9 shotgun to IQ, she would instantly go from like the worst 3-speed operator to one of the best 3-speed operators.
Yeah, because people would finally use shotguns on attack.
Yeah, I mean, Thermite's M10 used to be overpowered. People like back when Pulse was overpowered, back when like he had, what was it, 14 meters range or whatever, and he still had wall hacks, and his shotgun was just the icing on the cake because it was just so powerful. Thermite also has a shotgun, and I feel like people didn't realize that he did, or like didn't think, oh, if Pulse is so good with it, why don't I go Thermite with it? I went to go after I realized how powerful it was. I was like, if you can't beat him, join him. So I started running shotgun on Thermite. I was like, this is just sad. I'm just like one-shotting people left, right, and center. It was just like it was really powerful. But then obviously they nerfed it, and then you're left with Sledge and Thatcher's shotgun, and that's all right. It's not like a bad shotgun, but for the most part, it's the AR-33 is a really nice weapon. The L8 is really nice too, but also on Sledge, most people just use the SMG-11 anyways as a primary. So you get to the point where it's like, and no other attacking operator. Well, there's Twitch, but Twitch, and the GIGN shotgun is just the worst shotgun in the game, in my opinion. I think.
Yeah, it's quite actually. I don't know. I'm kind of getting used to it. Somebody in my chat actually suggested I should try rushing with Twitch, and I did that a couple times now, and it's actually not horrible. Like if you get the speed going. The problem,
I don't think it's horrible. I think it's still a shotgun.
It is.
But again, compared to the other shotguns, I feel like it's kind of down there.
No, that's not even the problem. I feel like the shotgun is on par with the other shotguns. The main problem that exists with this shotgun is that you get the shotgun for the wrong operators. You can't give a 3 armor operator a shotgun because he is just basically what you're trying to do when you're playing shotgun is you try and close the gap. You try and be like close the gap between your enemies so you can be really close and one-shot them. That's what you're trying to do. You can't just like take a long-range fight with a shotgun. But since you're playing Rook or Doc like all the time, and Monty doesn't even have the shotgun because he's a shield operator.
Monty and Blitz can't have any shotgun because their gadget is wholly dependent on the shield, so obviously they can't.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But I'm just saying, you only have 3 armor operators and Twitch with a shotgun. The 3 armor operators make no sense because of that gap closing, and the Twitch doesn't make sense because she has the FAMAS, which is arguably the best weapon in the game. So why would you pick a mediocre shotgun over the FAMAS? And I mean, I'm constantly trying new things. I'm trying the shotgun on Twitch, and as soon as you notice that you actually like, if you are at a decent pace and you don't have 3 armor all the time, you can actually make the shotgun work because you can finally do close that gap, and it works on attack. It does work, but it's not quite as good as the other shotguns. But it's not unusable.
What about you, Tur? Do you use a shotgun on any operator?
Very rarely. I'm not a massive shotgun fan. Yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. My play style's more around creating holes, longer range stuff,
Yeah.
and so I'll go for like the peaks quickly. And if I can't hit ahead, then I'll mow them down.
Here's the question then: if you had to choose one shotgun to use, what would it be?
The SAS shotgun by far.
All right.
It's just the best.
Oh, and by the way, why the I think why the shotgun that Thermite has isn't used as much on Thermite is because it just doesn't make sense in my book. Like, I look at the shotgun and I look at the operator and I combine them and I see nothing that that keeps them on the same page. Thermite is all about, like, the entire operator is made so you can open up long distances, and his assault rifle is a long distance assault rifle, and that just fits. Why would you open a gigantic corridor up when right after that you're trying to run in with a shotgun when you have this gigantic corridor open?
Yeah, the way I see it. Oh, go on, Turd.
No, crack on.
No, I was gonna say the way I see it is snowmobile garage on Chalet. You open it and then you have an M1014. What are you gonna do? Snipe them out in wine cellar with the M1014?
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
likely.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I don't get with shotguns work on defense because they have to come to you. The enemies have to come into that range. With attackers, you want to try and stay away from them as much as possible. You want to try and
but
clear out the room.
if you play it close, if you play it right, you get up close in their face, they can still be, But see, then you get to the point where you're not always in a position to where you can get up close to their face. So a lot of times, like you're in lockers in on Hereford base, and there's a guy in ladder, and if you're like Twitch with the shotgun, what are you gonna do? Wave at him, hope he just passes out? No, you can't hit him from there. Probably got an assault rifle, or not an assault rifle, but an SMG to shoot you down with, and you can't really hit him from there. So that's why in attack, shotguns don't make that much sense, especially on 2 or 3 speed, 2 or 1 speed operators. But on 3 speed, at the very least, you can try and close the gap at certain distances. That's why I think that maybe, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about the shotgun and IQ, because then I feel like people just rush with IQ 24/7 with that shot, because with the M870 is a really nice shotgun too. It's my favorite, in all honesty. But I don't know. I think that's one way to buffer, but I don't. And in all honesty, I don't think that's the way they'll go. I don't think they'll just add a shotgun on like it would be nice.
It wouldn't really be a buff, I think, to IQ to give it a shotgun.
Oh, definitely would be. It's 100%
It wouldn't
a buff, because
it wouldn't be much of a buff.
That is arguable, but you could definitely not say it wouldn't be a buff, because that's a straight up lie. You're giving her another option, and even if that option is shit, it's a buff. Like, that's my general opinion on it.
If anyone needs a buff, it's Castle.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get the Castle real fast too,
Maybe.
but I do think that if they're gonna buff IQ, I think they should buff her gadget before anything else. Going on to the next operator that I think we should talk about just a little bit is Castle.
Yeah.
And how he's an interesting operator. He's been picked more and more recently by the pro players but even then, at best, he just kind of delays them. Like, there's almost always an Ash. There's almost always a Sledge. There's almost always, well, not almost always, but with the next couple, but sometimes there's a Buck or a Capital with grenades.
Yep.
To the point where Castle's it's even with, and then obviously almost everyone has the option to take breaching charges, and even if the Castle meet, like I said, there's still Ash, Sledge, and all that, to where it just he's very not workable.
He just doesn't do enough. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, his walls are fine. Like, they work. You could even argue he got buffed from for the 3-minute timer. I mean, in ranked, but even then, Castle gives you 10 seconds max. That's what he gives you. He gives you 10 seconds in another operator with a gun.
And then it's, even if by some miracle they don't have an Ash, a Sledge, anyone with grenades, no breaching charges or anything, you can still melee it.
Yeah, you can still punch it in. Exactly.
It's pretty loud, but I mean, it still takes a while. You know, it's not like
I feel like I think Castle is like my least played operator. My stats are out there. You can just look them up. But he's definitely one of my least played operators, and I feel like maybe I don't have the experience to say what you could do with Castle, but I'm trying to rediscover him. I'm sad he has no C4 or anything, but maybe especially like in the like middle and lower ranks, you can probably pull some shit off. What I'm trying to do at the moment is I just put a castle barricade up somewhere, and the attackers seem to feel super safe behind castle barricades. You put one at like a window, and they just walk by, no problem. Meanwhile, you sit there ready with one of those impact grenades. You just grenade the shit out of your own castle wall, and you jump out in 0.5 seconds, and you murder all of them. But the problem is that that just nobody kind of uses that. Nobody gets that idea, and maybe it's just too weak as well. Like, I haven't tried it too many times yet. I'm still in the process of figuring out if that actually works. But
I think a decent buff to Castle might be if he could put his barricades on walls. That way, I know they'd still be able to be breached, but that way they wouldn't be able to shoot through the wall, and especially if the enemy couldn't see that they couldn't shoot through the wall straight away. And it would sort of fit in with his operator video as well, the way he puts it down and then sits behind it.
I think I think someone talked about it. It might have been you, might have been Guff actually too. Was about how like if there was like they shot out a kill hole with something, and then you killed the guy who did it, and then you like quickly put up a castle real fast. But I feel like at that point, I don't know. I just feel like it's also very situational. Like, what are the chances that you have a soft wall of the room, to begin with, and then the fact that someone would breach it and you kill them and you're wasting a castle on it, and then that they can easily just breach again. I feel like it would just be very situational as well, and I think there's other ways they could go about buffing him.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Like, again, I think that it comes down to the thing that you said earlier about CHANKA. Castle works in theory, but in praxis, it just kind of doesn't do anything. That's the problem. Maybe reinforce his walls somehow, that it can't be breached with grenades anymore. But then again, that might be too strong. I don't know. He's in a really weird situation.
I just read through the chat real fast, and I did see two things that I was going to mention at any rate. Was about how perhaps his wall should go all the way to the ground where drones can't go through.
Yeah,
and
that
also
sounds like fun.
And also that it can't be meleeed, perhaps.
The problem with making it so that drones can't go through though is it removes quite a good benefit, is the fact that you can see someone placing a charge on it and shoot them underneath.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
So I just feel like it'd be a buff and a nerf at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want input from drones, the main problem is that if you don't want input from drones, you get a mute. He does the exact same thing, but he does it better because he has 4 jammers, and the jammers have more reach. And what's gonna happen if you can actually block drones is castles are gonna be like, yo, I gotta block all these drones from the objective. So the first thing they do is they lock everyone in. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of the changes can't be made because people are just stupid.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I just read was about how before grenades didn't instantly destroy castles. They just made like little how was it called? Like
put like shrapnels out, yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of like knocked some parts of it out, but it didn't destroy them. And I think that if we went back to that would be better. And maybe Sledge would have to sledge it like a couple times or 2 or 3 times. Just stuff like that to make it where it's like it's not like the easiest thing ever. Like, oh, I got a castle. They think they're funny.
Maybe like 2 or 3 sledgehammer hits would actually be a nice change.
I mean, maybe it's like so thick to the point where like Ash's breaching charge can't, But I feel like he's got to have some counter. So I feel like either like Ash can go through it still, or Sledge
Maybe
can
Ash
still do it.
can blow like a hole into it. Like you put an Ash shot on like head level and it just makes a head-sized hole that you can peek through.
I do still think they got to keep in mind that he's got to have some counter. Like the way that we're making it sound is that like it can't be destroyed. Then is like if like Ash puts a hole in it and Sledge has to destroy it multiple times. Is then if you do the castle mute thing, then that's even more powerful. And because like if you can't put breaching charges on it, then you can't destroy it all the way. You know, unless you got like I don't know. It just feels like it would be a really nice buff, but I don't want it to be like too well. You know, I don't think Castle will ever be overpowered per se, but I think that there's just some points where like it's an unnecessary extent.
Yeah, I definitely see your point, but I don't. What I've never understood about Ubisoft Montreal and balancing is that they always go full way. Like they don't take half measures. They're looking back to the M10 whatever shotgun, the FBI shotgun, where they out of nowhere they literally halved the shotgun's effectiveness. They put like 10% more spread on it and they reduce damage by 40%. Let's just say that's about 50% damage decrease. And that is nothing to laugh about. That is an insane change. And I still, to this day, I say that was too much. They should have probably gone with like 20 or 30%, maybe 40. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I feel like that was too much. And they should have probably been like, yo, this patch we're reducing the damage by 10%. And we'll see how that works out. And if it's still too strong, we're gonna reduce by another 10% next week. But they never do that, ever. And I'm really disappointed with that. We always get like insane changes. The last time we got something new, like besides the DLC, was the mid-season reinforcements. And we heard nothing about that. Like they were like, yo, we're bringing mid-season reinforcements. They're coming out tomorrow. Have fun. Like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I get no time for anything. It just kind of comes out and then it's there, and yeah.
All right, well, actually, I'll let Turd go first, and then I'll rebuttal.
Yeah. Turd?
If Turd is still alive. Okay, yeah, he's still alive.
I'm alive.
Are you even listening?
I am listening.
Nerd.
We're talking about castle buffs.
Nice. I'm proud of you. You're very involved.
I don't play Castle, so like, fuck him, I don't know.
No, we were talking about the M1014 and how it does it. How he thinks that it was unjustifiably like buff nerfed to like Oblivion. I don't think so. I don't think
he would say that because he's a filthy pulse main.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I just think that first off, I don't think it came out of nowhere. It's not like this was week 2. The game had been out, and the M1014 hadn't been changed for almost 6 or 7 months. It's not like the incident is. People have been complaining about it for most of that time, so it's not like they just were like one day were like, you know what, we're gonna nerf this thing. And the other thing is, I think that they looked at it first. I don't think they just were like, you know, well let's guess a random number and then we'll nerf it by that. We'll nerf it by that percentage. I think they were like, okay, we'll test it out with 10% and then 20. I think they tested it out by themselves because they don't do a community test environment. But I think they were like, okay, but the strength of shotguns in this game should be really close range. So we're going to make it by 50%. So that way it still is a shotgun at close range and it still like has its strengths there. But then it's not like you could snipe people like you could before.
I mean, to be honest, most games get shotguns wrong. Like
all the games get shotguns wrong. Yeah. I haven't seen a single game where shotguns were accurate.
The spread on shotguns is about 10 meters. It's about fist-sized spread. It's not massive, like it is in all these video games. But at the same time, I can see why they do it because otherwise it would be way too strong.
Yeah, for balancing reasons. I mean, yeah, it's not like it's real life, you know, counterpart. It's definitely, you know, different in a way in all video games for the most part. But I think there's obviously a reason behind it, being that you don't want them to become just absolute, you know, god weapons. And I think that's the M1014 was bordering that line before they nerfed it. Was just the fact that it was just like, oh, he shot me from plane, and I'm on chalet.
Yeah, but Wonderful. It wasn't even the M1014. There was like all the other semi-auto shotguns that were like even worse.
You remember Super 90? Do you remember the?
Yeah, I remember the really old Super 90. I remember the really old one, and I remember the one
They
that
nerfed it like 3 times. So
yeah they nerfed it a lot. Yeah, and I don't know, it just still it was still too much. I still like believe that. I still believe they nerfed the shotgun too much. Like
I think it was fine.
Sometimes
I think that.
well, let's just agree to disagree then.
It's fucking pulse mains, man.
I'm just
Pulse
looking.
main.
By the way, I'm just looking at the footage that I'm displaying on screen now. We should talk about the new destruction that they brought in. That seems like
Yeah,
a
it's
good idea.
bullshit.
All right.
Okay,
wrong.
why is it bullshit, Turk? Turk.
Right.
Turk.
Ubisoft clearly
Then-
know fuck all about ballistics, right? I'm
Oh,
sorry, but a 7.62mm or a 5.6mm round will not create a larger hole than a 9mm or a 45 ACP, purely because they're a smaller sized bullet traveling at a much higher velocity, which means they're going to punch through it and make a smaller hole. A pistol round, however, is usually hollow point. We'll say in this they're using hollow point pistol ammunition. Okay, fantastic. That's going to hit the target. It's going to spread the force onto it. Not to mention it's a larger bullet anyway, and will therefore create a larger hole. Ubisoft, go learn how ballistics work, please, because it's fucking annoying.
You're a fucking nerd. You're a weapons nerd. Yeah, I can see the point though. Like, but I think that is just purely balanced. Actually, it doesn't. It's not even balanced, but maybe
It's just
it's
Ubisoft being
overseen.
fucking idiots.
My
Maybe.
favorite part is it technically was the nerf to CHANKA, because the one thing about CHANKA's gun is that it was really good at making like kill holes. Like you could destroy entire walls really fast if you wanted. Like, do you remember that thermite glitch to where if you destroyed the wall, the thermite charge could be shot through it?
Yep,
Yeah,
I think everyone does.
I saw teams do it, and they would take CHANKA because it was really easy to shoot out the entire like garage or whatever, and just because it was just that easy, it was a pretty good at making that size of kill holes.
Yep.
Then of course caliber-based destruction comes around. You waste a full circle mag, whatever they want to call it, the 50 bullet ones, and you barely made a dent as opposed to what you used to. There's a very indirect buff to nerf to CHANKA that he didn't need. It's not like he was, good before that.
Yeah, it's just very different now. I feel like I thought it was going a lot worse than it actually does. Like, I don't know, in the video that they showed, it was like you shoot 3 times and then there's a gigantic hole. It didn't.
Well,
really turn
that
out
was
like
with
that.
the Deagle.
That
I
was
know what
not
you're
just
talking
with the Deagle. That was also, I think they chose the G36C, and that thing made gigantic holes. And yeah, that was definitely something. That looks different. I don't know if it's just me, but it looks different, like in the end product. But it took me a little while, but I got used to the entire concept of how it works on shotguns now. I think the M10 still it doesn't work on the M10. I gotta like do more experiments. Apparently, I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I don't think it quite works on the M10. However, if you pick up the SAS shotgun, like when you play smoke, you can open up the entire objective now within just a couple of bullets. Like, I keep like 10 bullets for myself, or 10 shots for myself, and the rest I use to open up in between the bombs. And you can open up such a massive. You can literally just tear apart the entire wall and be fine with it. And you still have ammo for everyone else.
Because Smoke went from the AOD. I mean, he's still got the gas grenade, so he's still AOD. But he used to have the nitro cell too, so it was just more AOD. Like, you could just place it on the doorway, wait for him to come in and everything. Now the impact grenades, and they combined it with the fact that with shotgun, he went from AOD to LOS, line of sight.
Yep.
Because all the impact grenades and the shotgun holes, very interesting how quickly the operator changed.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the caliber-based destruction, I think it was an interesting mechanic on paper. I do think it's kind of weird how they implemented it, like how just some of it. I apparently, according to Turd's ballistics expert advice and expertise, that some of it's wrong, just flat out wrong. And other times it might be true, but it feels wrong too. It's like Caveira's pistol. the silenced one like makes us like a larger bullet hole than her primary M12 submachine gun.
Theoretically, they should make pretty much the same because they're both 9mm rounds. Just one of them's subsonic.
Yeah, but see, her pistol is 1 caliber higher. Like it's a 5 caliber level that they made it. The Louison is 1 above the M12.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Ubisoft, stop being stupid.
It's just funny because I remember the one time I was in ranked and I was like, hold on, let me make a kill hole with my Louison. And then I was like, wow, how far I've come.
It works really nicely on some weapons, like the MP5K is a good example. It works really nicely on the MP5K for some reason, even though that has pistol caliber as far as I know. Same for the normal MP5. It works like, I don't know why, but on Jaeger's carbine, even though that kind of does it have a higher caliber? I think it has kind of.
Yeah, it uses 5.56.
I don't know. Look, I have no clue.
It's the same as an M4.
Okay,
You
so
just
it's decently
Okay.
sized, which basically it should like tear a good hole after a couple shots, according to
No,
what Ubisoft said.
It should.
But
According to real life, it should.
according to we're not dealing with real life here. Let's be honest. Like I can see that you're angry because of this, but I was kind of angry at the start too, because I feel like destruction should be kept to
Maybe they
shotguns.
should-
That is the
Maybe they
shotgun's
should have
role.
hired you, Turd, as like a ballistics expert. Ballistics.
I'm not an expert. I was just in the army, so I know how bullets work.
Ah.
Like,
Although
I'm sorry.
One thing I did see in chat real fast is how we were talking about the thing, the defender's weapon and everything, and how this one guy mentioned about Mute's MP5K and how they think he needs an ACOG.
I don't think he needs an ACOG.
No,
See,
not really.
I've seen so many posts. You know how it's fairly easy to edit it. Like they'll make like all like the title will be OMG I wish, and it's just like the MP5K with an ACOG, or it's the MPX with an ACOG, or the UMP with an ACOG. I mean, I'm sure it would be fun to use. Like it would be great to use, but I know instantly it would just be completely unbalanced. Like it would just be oh my god, it would be a nightmare.
Yeah, as I
So,
said a couple of times now, there's a
Everyone on
reason.
defense could spawn peek.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason they didn't put it in.
But honestly, I'm just waiting for like you see it everywhere. It's like MP5K, MPX, the crap. What was the other one I said? UMP, and I'm surprised they don't edit it to where it's like a nitro cell with an ACOG at this point.
Yeah, it's people are complaining too much. Everyone just wants what they think is best for them, and not for everyone.
Well, it's just that there's so much desire for more ACOGs on defense. Like it's like it feels like if they were to add more and more of them, it would just be like even more like not. Like, it would be not stupid, but it would just get like rather unbalanced. Like if anyone could spawn peek, for the most part. I mean, you can spawn peek with any weapon, but if you have more success if you have an ACOG.
It doesn't even make much sense, because like I can see it from the outside perspective. I can see it on the attackers, because the attackers try and engage from long range. But when you are defending an objective, you you don't pick an ACOG because you are the ones defending the room. You are the ones inside using the inside the interior of whatever you're using. Like maybe it's a house, maybe it's a ship, maybe it's an airplane. But you're using that interior to give yourself an advantage in the close range. That's why the defenders have so many shotguns. That's why the defenders have SMGs. And then negating that exact thing by putting an ACOG on fucking everything kind of makes no sense. It makes no sense from the game's perspective.
Yeah. And the one guy in chat who mentioned the mute with an ACOG, he just mentioned mute. Yeah, but he didn't mention everyone else. But I'm just talking about how in the Reddit, like and everywhere else, there's people who are like, oh, I need an ACOG on my UMP so I can, become a sniper as Pulse. And there's other people who want a variety of different weapons. They just want an ACOG on more defense weapons. And I mean, the one guy just mentioned the one on mute, and that's fine. That's fair enough. But it gets to the point where there's already, there's the MP5, there's the P90, there's the Jaeger's weapon. I can't think of the name for some reason.
The carbine 416 something.
416 carbine, yeah. Then there's let's see. Well, Smoke's SMG-11 recently lost the ACOG, rest in peace. And let's see, what else is? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yep.
Oh, MP7 and the ACOG.
Oh yeah, right. The MP7 has one exactly.
I think with the ACOG, I think there needs to be more alternatives. So something like maybe a flip to side mount for the holographic. So you can get like maybe your holo is your 1x sight, and then your flip to sight gives it a 2 to 3 times magnification.
Do you mean like canted iron sights?
It's basically you have your holographic, and then it flips a little magnifier to the side of it, which zooms in.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can find a picture.
Yeah, that actually makes kind of sense. But then again, why would you not pick that over pretty much any other sight? Like it seems to be it seems to be just an upgrade to everything. It's the exact thing that we had when the game launched, where we had grips on weapons, and there was no reason not to put a grip on a weapon. We still don't have a downside to a grip of a weapon, but now on some weapons at least, we have the option to grip a different grip. We have the angle.
I've linked it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's no reason not to run an underbarrel. Like I mean, either if you think the recoil is fine, you don't need a vertical grip. Grab an angled grip. If you don't want, if the gun's got a bit of kick to it, you want just a vertical grip to help with that. Grab a vertical grip. No one's gonna run it vanilla if they don't, unless like they're new and they don't have the renown for it. Which is why we're gonna get in here the next topic that Thomas doesn't want to talk about because he's gonna lose the argument, and the fact that the extended mags and dual mags would be a nice addition to weapon attachments.
Yeah, I'd agree with it. Or if not extended mags, maybe like you said, yeah, dual mags, so connectors.
I say dual mags because that's what they were called in COD. I think that's what most people know them as. Like there's a different name for them. I forget what, but there's. I just think it'd be interesting to add that kind of customization to the weapon, the attachments, because I get why some people wouldn't like it because, like I said, like I know Thomas is going to say that there's no downside to it, but again, there's no downside to having a vertical grip or an angle grip. It's
yeah,
just,
I didn't say. I said my point there. I'm using the exact same point there. I say that the choice of having a grip that only gives you an upgrade is a bad thing. I never said that I like that there is grips in the game. I
don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that there needs to. I think that you shouldn't be running a gun vanilla. I think there definitely is a reason why there's there's only like 2 guns that I feel like you could even run iron sights on, and you always pretty much want to, if you can put a grip on a gun, you're gonna put a grip on a gun. If you can put a barrel on the gun, you're gonna put a barrel on the gun, whether it be the compensator, flash hider, muzzle brake, or the heavy barrel is up to you. But the point being is there's no real benefit to not having it. And the same thing with the grips. I mean, I get why you don't like that concept of just you want the attachment, but it's already it's already well implemented. It's not they're gonna remove the grips or anything.
I'm
it's
not
not
gonna say they should remove the grips, but
no,
I'm saying
I didn't say that you implied that either. I just saying that if they did add an extended mag and dual mag concept to it, I think it wouldn't exactly completely change the game. I think it'd be a nice dynamic. You would have the people who are like, oh, I run out of ammo sometimes at like the last bullet. I just want 5 or 10 extra bullets. There's other people who are like, I just want to reload fast. It's like that. What's the word? It's like Pepsi or Coke, that kind of thing. It's just it goes down to preference, of what you would rather have. If you would rather reload fast, like what makes more sense to you? I would rather reload faster, so I can have my a new 30-round clip, or I don't need to reload fast. I don't need another 30-round clip. I just need 10 extra bullets.
I still feel like there should be like a major downside to it to have it work. You can't just make it an all upgrade. I feel like what they've done with the barrels is a really, really neat idea. Except that, obviously, like at least you have on the barrel side, you have some customization for yourself. You could choose between, like, depending on what weapon you pick, you can choose 5 different ones. So you always have like a choice to make on what you do. You can customize your thing, but I would call putting a grip on a weapon or putting dual mags on a weapon that's not a choice. That's mandatory. Like,
But the thing is, there is ways you can sort of balance them. So with, for example, your mag couplers, your dual mags, you could make it. Yes, you get a faster initial reload. Your reload after that is then a lot slower because you've got bulkier mag.
that would make sense. I can see myself agreeing with that. Yeah, that is a good idea. But what do you do with the extended mags? Is it just a longer reload as well? Because that makes no sense. Because why? It's just a little bit of a longer mag. It doesn't take longer to actually
I think the
reload.
drawback.
It's more weight, so you could maybe have
Yeah,
worse weapon handling.
Perhaps I think that would be a bit. People were like, it's just a mag. I thought people would be like, it's just a mag. But I do think that also that the drawbacks to like the way you phrase it with the dual mags, it sounds great. It sounds like, because it makes sense. You have more to reload then, so it might take a bit longer. But the extended, I think the positives to the extended mag aren't as benefit like it's just 5 to 10 bullets. I feel like that's not an extreme advantage worthy of it being held down by the fact that it's going to have like the longest reload ever. I think that it just should be perhaps longer, perhaps, but I just don't think it should be as because trying to figure out how to word it. I generally think that the dual mags would be better. Like if I had the choice, I would probably run dual mags, and I think the drawback that you mentioned is much better suited for it, because the fact is then you pretty much have a 60 round clip if you play it right. You just reload pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with the extended mag, it's just 5 to 10 bullets more, which can help out in firefights, obviously, with some people, which is why people might run it. But to the extent that to make it reload much slower, I feel like it's just not needed. It's not like that you need that drawback. It's not like like what's the drawback to the vertical grip? To go back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing exactly.
Yeah, and there's
I'd
no
like
real.
to see more versatility, I think,
Yeah,
in attachments.
I just think that to counter from what I've heard from you, Thomas, and like both in this podcast and other places when we've talked, is how you think that you know I think you're trying to have that choice of between whether to run. I think you're putting the decision in the wrong place. Because you're saying it should be either to run an attachment or not. I think it should be rather which attachment to run, not naked or not. I think it should be which version of the attachment do you want.
I feel like it should still be viable to just run a weapon without any attachment and just have it feel different. Like I'm currently running the MP7 without a holo sight because I feel like or without any sight at all because I feel like the MP7 has really good iron sights and I just want to use that and have no downside to it. And like that's a nice choice that I can really appreciate. Where I can see, okay, I like the iron sights more. I don't need to put put like a different sight on it just to have it look better or just to see anything. I have the choice to do that, and it has no downside. But with the grips, it's entirely different. Maybe what could maybe fix the grips is maybe you take a little bit longer to ADS if it's even like 1.1 seconds. It's this thing that Battlefield actually has done, but they've never declared it anywhere. Or anywhere where you can put a bayonet on your weapon, and it actually increases the time that you take to from sprinting to aim down sight or sprinting to hipfire. I think one of either. And
It increases your recoil as well.
it increases your recoil as well, very, very slightly, but it does do that.
It slightly increases your recoil. I think it also increases the time it takes to ADS, and you think you sprint slower with it. I think those were the three that like I said, like you said, it isn't written down anywhere in the UI.
Yep.
It just you can find it on people who like experimented with it and everything, and they posted it on like YouTube and on the Reddit and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the kind of thing that we need. I feel like there should be a downside to every attachment. So you can just so if it's not mandatory, but you can choose between if you want to run it or not.
And the chat, when we're talking about the extended versus the dual mags, it does seem to be kind of divided, like I see what I was saying. Like, because I think it's personally preference. I think that you can see that in chat a bit. But another guy had mentioned attack, like different attachments for attack and different attachments for defense. So like attachments you could get on attack, but you couldn't use them on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned how about attack gets the mag attachments, and the defense gets a new lens. It's like ×2.
Yeah, that's also a thing I never understood. Why do we only have two different sites when it comes down to it? We have we have the 3 sites that are ×1, and then we have the ACOG. Why
I
don't we
think
have
that
something in between?
I think they should add new sites too, but there's already 4, so I feel like they shouldn't add like 8 more or something. I think they should just add maybe like 1 or 2 more just to increase. Like when they increased the heavy barrel, that was it. They just added a heavy barrel, and then like I think a patch later they added the angle grip. Just kind of like it was there. It was a nice bit of change up. You can put the heavy barrel on some of I use it on Frost's 9mm.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just feel like a lot of times I always get in engagements that are far away with Frost. I don't know why, but it always does feel like it. So I feel like it helps, and I feel like I can manage the recoil that it gives for some reason. That's the other thing. Do heavy barrels actually increase recoil?
They increase bullet velocity, so yeah, technically.
Oh, okay.
Not. It wouldn't be noticeable to the shooter though.
Oh,
Like a good shooter wouldn't feel it.
oh, all right. That's interesting.
I
But yeah,
didn't know that either.
so I think that the I think that they should do that. Like maybe one patch was like, oh, there's these new attachments. Like, do you know any other sites?
I know plenty of sites. Shit ton. You could use. There are literally thousands of optics out there.
Can you think of any that aren't like thermal or flare or flare?
Yeah, so you've got different types of EOTech sites. You've got different types of hollow. You've got reflex sites. You've got blooming. There is literally, like I said, thousands. ACOG. You've got 4, 6. There's loads of different models of ACOG that you can choose. You've got SAT. You've got LCAN. You've got King Arms. Aimpoint. The list is literally infinite.
So they have a ton of choices that they could go from to add
Yeah.
in new sites to the game.
I'd quite like to see an Aimpoint site in there.
A what site?
An Aimpoint. It looks similar to an ACOG, but it's mounted differently and it's only a red dot. But it's got a minimal shroud around it. So you'd have your red dot and your minimal shroud, which I quite like.
It sounds interesting, yeah.
So I think it'd be cool if like one patch, like maybe the mid-season reinforcements between season 5 and season 6. So like here's some new attachments. You can put on like maybe someone you mentioned or something else like in the other 1,000 of sites that they could use.
Yeah, exactly. There is plenty of stuff they can go for.
And then also like we already had the discussion, but the mags, if they would put them in, I think that would be nice. And then maybe like again, because we kind of talked about this much earlier in the podcast about what they're gonna do for mid-season reinforcements, because you gotta there's only so many gadgets and stuff they could add and operator reworks. I mean, because the way I see it is you need to look at the format and the precedent they sent in 4.2 in the patch that buffed Doc and Twitch. They buffed 2 operators. Well, Doc was completely underrated. Not underrated, but he was underused and underpowered. And then Twitch was all right.
Exactly.
But I think that was mostly because of how her F2000 was, and it was just such a great weapon that people didn't really care that her Twitch drone wasn't that great.
Yeah, she was just picked for the weapon. Let's be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. So I think that it was nice that they made her gadget a bit more viable. I think that it's funny that they buffed Pulse and Twitch is gadget before they buffed to CHANKA and IQ and Blaz.
That is so weird.
But I mean, anyways, we'll talk about that. But the point being is that maybe in the next mid-season reinforcement, they'll finally will patch one of the 4 operators that we talked about, the Castle, Glaz, Tachanka and IQ, or maybe just something to like spread it out to where it actually changes up things between the mid-seasons to the point where like it doesn't feel like the day 1 of season 5 doesn't feel that different from the day before season 6 launches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what. The thing, I don't know. I kind of noticed while you were like mentioning that. I kind of noticed like a pattern when which Ubisoft kind of uses. They always look at one thing at a time, and then they kind of just buff that, and like they do a really interesting thing, and it kind of works out. That's the interesting part. They were like, we have a lack of attachments. Let's add some, and then they added like 3 more attachments. They were like, yeah, we kind of need more gadgets. They added 2 more gadgets to the game, and it kind of just works. I don't know why, but
I think that they should, like I said, I think they should follow that format. Like, also, like if you remember, also in that very 4.2 patch, they also came out with other weapon attachments. I forget which. I think it was what was it, the heavy barrel?
I think that was the patch with the heavy barrel. Yeah.
I don't remember, but I do remember they added attachments in the game. No, it was a muzzle brake. That's what it was, because they buffed all the DMRs.
Oh yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now that you
And
say
they
it.
added the muzzle brake just to top it off too. So yeah, it was a muzzle brake, and I think it was something else. But point being is they added weapon attachments, gadgets, reworked operators. It was a really nice patch. Like, we mentioned it before, but 4.2 was a really nice patch, really really well done, and it completely changed the meta. Well, yeah, I think I say it would. Doc became much more viable, and you saw him much more. So that's why I think day one, like the first week of season 3, was very different from the last week of season 3. I think that's what they should strive for in the next mid-season reinforcements. Maybe buff. I don't know who they like to choose, but I think they should buff like IQ and Castle and say the next mid-season reinforcements, and add in maybe some new sites, or instead maybe add in the new magazines, and then also fix bugs obviously and hit red and all that, because that's still a minor problem. And I don't even know call it what minor, but there's definitely a lot of bugs in the game still. Different things they could work on. But I do think that they still need to keep, they need to find a perfect balance between keeping it between, what's the word? Fixing things and changing them at the same time. Making it more interesting and yet not, broken.
Yeah, I get
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
All right. Should we wrap it up and call it a day? Because I feel like we've talked a lot today, and
Yeah. It's
we've
been
got-
about 3 hours.
Yeah, we've almost got the 3 hours full. So I think I'm pretty much fine with what we've done today. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank you two for tuning in as well and helping me out creating a podcast.
Alright.
Is there any way, if you want to be found, where we can find you, like a Twitter or something that you want to plug shamelessly?
Yeah.
I have a YouTube that posts like the equivalent of shit posts all the time.
Yeah, I have a YouTube too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you guys in the word description as soon as I've actually I'm gonna pull this and I'm gonna edit it a little bit and then re-upload it so you can get like a full-on VOD of the stream. And I will put both of your things in the description. But if you have like a Twitter or something you want to shout that out, then go ahead, do that now.
I'm shamefully linking my YouTube in chat.
Well, that works. Do that.
I have a Twitter. I don't use it. And no one cares about the shit I say.
Good. Okay. Yeah, it's the same thing for me, but for some reason 500 people follow me. So yeah, I don't need to explain who I am. I think because everyone on this channel knows.
He's a German nerd.
I'm a German nerd. Follow me on Twitter. Yeah, I
2
do have a
World Wars
Twitter.
and 1 World Cup.
Oh, God damn it. Yes, I do have a Twitter. If you want to follow me, do that there at Lord Thomi. Same on Twitch at Lord Thomi. Well, no, not at, but the Lord Thomi thing. It's always linked in my videos. So if you want to follow me around, I usually do those kind of things on Twitch, but I felt like podcast is much more fit for YouTube. So as I just said, thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope you have an awesome day or night or whatever you have wherever you are, because time zones and stuff.
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
Yes. Goodbye, guys. See ya.
Wait.
What?
Thomas doesn't understand time zones. He thinks Australia is 8 hours behind the US. The end.